8 de la mañana, Trump, Putin, Trump, nos podemos olvidar de ellos, nos vamos directamente a Irán porque Irán pone el golpe sobre la mesa siendo balaceado, bombardeado y destruido por Israel, que es por su salvación. ¡Wow! Extraordinarios eventos todo el tiempo, más de lo mismo. Lo interesante es que hoy es viernes 13, damas y caballeros, después del gran susto de ayer, por supuesto, de la guerra. No sé qué estaba pasando, les voy a contar la verdad. Ayer estaba en un trade, estaba haciendo un long en Nvidia y lo empecé en los 143, algo así. Y como tienes bastante apalancamiento, pues le metí calor. Y al final del día estaba por ahí de los 145 y dije, algo está raro. Lo vendí y volteé a ver a Tesla. Y yo quería entrar en long en Tesla y volteé a ver a Tesla y digo, esto va a caer. Y ahorita vendí, puse un short en Tesla, también con apalancamiento. Y dije, pues vamos a ver qué pasa mañana. Y cuando anuncian todo este cagadero que está ocurriendo ahorita, que vamos a platicar de él rapidísimo, veo que todo post-market empieza a caer y hoy en la mañana se veía bien. Entonces me esperé tantito ahorita para abrir BTCC en la mañana y salí muy positivo. Instantáneamente cerré mi corto y empezó a ir para arriba y quería abrir otro lot, pero dije, antes de empezar como enfermo a operar, voy a hacer esto y ya en lo que están Farhan y Alex dándonos una cátedra, ya podemos entrar con todo. Espero que estén teniendo una excelente mañana, una mejor mañana que la gente en Irán o que la gente en Israel. Pero sí, efectivamente, ¿qué es lo que está pasando el día de hoy en el mundo? Por alguna razón decidimos informarle a todo el mundo que hay intercambio de ataques entre Israel e Irán. Nada más, recuerden, hemos estado bombardeando Irán, Israel, les matamos al presidente. Digo, se murió en un accidente de helicóptero donde se perdió. Ya les matamos al presidente, ya le hicimos todo, pero ahorita te lo dijeron. Y lo mejor de todo es que lo hicieron antes del fin de semana. Y cuando hacen algo antes del fin de semana para meter ese miedo rico, después vi que Donald Trump dijo en la mañana cuando los mercados estaban recuperando, salen un chingo de post de Donald Trump está diciendo que esto va a durar más de lo que la gente piensa. Tira a los mercados una vez más, lo que me hace pensar y volverme demasiado alcista. Además de que esto fue un poco lo que pasó con Hamas y un poco de lo que hemos visto con el dólar. Ya saben que a mí me gusta explicar esto. El conflicto en sí mismo es una estupidez que nunca se va a resolver y todo el mundo va a continuar hablando en circulitos que es que la gente de Israel merece esto y la gente de Irán merece esto. Honestamente, a este punto yo creo que a todos nos debería de valer verga y deberíamos de voltearnos simplemente a despedir a toda la gente de nuestro gobierno en Estados Unidos que apoye esto y fondee Israel, porque no van a fondear a Irán, ¿no? Porque si fondearan a Irán sería, ok, pues estamos fondeando a los dos, creando esa deliciosa inflación, devaluando nuestro dinero mínimo con los dos, pero no, lo estamos haciendo a través de Israel. Y les tengo una solución para todos ustedes. ¿Qué opinan si Estados Unidos deja de fondear a Israel por completo? Toda la gente de Israel que quiera cambiarse a Estados Unidos, se vengan a Estados Unidos, los aceptemos, les demos un pasaporte gringo, se quedan, si lo importante para ellos es la religión, se pueden quedar con su pasaporte y con eso dejamos que ya Israel haga su propio cagadero en el lugar donde aparentemente nadie los quiere y que se quieren quedar por alguna razón, porque yo no me podría imaginar vivir en donde hay en medio de una montaña llena de osos y quedarme ahí toda la vida, ¿no? Y después hablarle a alguien, ay, es que ven a ayudarme, no sé qué. O sea, no entiendo mínimo su lado de la historia. Entonces yo digo que a los que quieran venir, si quieran estar a salvo y no vivir con alarmas en el cielo y todo esto, deberían de caerle a Estados Unidos, les damos su pasaporte, bienvenidos, hay mucha gente en poder que comparte su religión y sus creencias, vénganse, los queremos también, queremos que estén bien. Y a la gente que se quiera quedar ahí, que se queden ahí, pero sin que les mandemos dinero. Y ya, es lo que yo diría. Y ya dejémonos de meter en estos pedos. Es lo que toda la gente racional debería de pedir, que esto se acabe y que ya no matemos a más gente, ¿no? Es lo que yo diría, es lo único que yo diría. Pero ya saben que estoy completamente loco y lo correcto es apoyar a un lado que hasta la muerte y poder emputarte con todos los demás y hacer que todo el mundo se encabrone. Eso es lo importante. Aquí en este show tristemente no nos fijamos en lo importante. Eso se queda para todos nuestros pacos, por supuesto, que empezaron a hablar del final del dólar. Interesante. Cada que el dólar está en problemas, lo hemos visto no solamente ahorita, lo vimos con el 8 de octubre, ¿no? Cuando, ¿qué era el 8 de octubre tan famoso, ¿no? Del ataque de Hamas. Cuando vimos eso, les dije, ok, ¿qué es lo que vamos a ver? Vamos a ver petróleo para arriba, oro para arriba en rebote, dólar para arriba en rebote y los bonos van a tener que bajar también en rebote, aunque primero lo primero que hacen es subir. Eso mismo está ocurriendo en este momento. Entonces, pudo haber sido casualidad que ayer el fin del dólar hasta el fondo donde había llegado el rebote que tuvo hoy tan fuerte el DXY haya tenido algo que ver con esto. Igual y la tabla nos lo dijo con el fin del dólar, no sé, no tengo idea, pero esto es lo que vimos el año pasado con esto. Y yo esperaría también ver un mercado todavía alcista moviéndonos para adelante. Ahora, si empiezan a decir que vamos a regalarle a Israel, porque es que cómo sufren esos güeyes, 130,000 millones de dólares, eso va a ser bueno para todos los que estemos en la bolsa, malo para toda la población. Y ahí sí ya podemos empezar a hablar de otra vez inflación de otra forma, ¿no? Porque pues si estás creando inflación a través de esto, estaremos hablando de eso. Hasta ahorita no estoy cambiando absolutamente nada de lo que estoy viendo, todo continúa igual. Eh, eh, no hay cambios, no hay cambios. Ahorita las cosas divertidas es leer las narrativas y lo que dice todo el mundo, ¿no? Está la gente que dice, Estados Unidos es la puta de Israel. Trump le pidió a Israel que no se metiera en este pedo, pero Israel hizo lo que quiso y ahora los tenemos que apoyar. Todavía no aprende nada. Esa gente todavía no aprende nada. Nada, nada, nada. Les voy a decir esto. Voy a diario a un lugar iraní a fumar juca. ¿Saben quién en todos estos conflictos nunca tiene sus banderas afuera y está diciendo, bueno, se están bombardeando, mataron a nuestro presidente? Ellos, ellos. Y el otro lado, que tiene un domo de no sé qué es, hoy me imagino que todos se van a juntar en la noche antes de sus fiestas y comer ese pan delicioso que hacen, y decir, ay, tenemos que regresar por toda esta gente que, estamos siendo atacados con nuestros misiles hacia Irán. Ahora, de nuevo, esta guerra y estos ataques, y hemos estado también bombardeando Siria, simplemente lo hemos estado haciendo todo este tiempo, pero hasta hoy se los dijeron en voz alta, que es la cosa más divertida de todo. No sé cómo funciona eso, no sé por qué, pero así es como funciona esto. Vamos a enfocarnos nosotros en el mercado, en seguir ganando, en no enfocarnos en pendejadas. Y si queremos hacer una diferencia, empecemos el movimiento. Despidan a todos nuestros políticos que apoyen esto y vámonos para afuera y a meter nuevos. Y también, obviamente, tenemos que cambiar el sistema político porque en Estados Unidos está en todos lados, pero en Estados Unidos el hecho de que la gente esté aplaudiéndole, ¿no? No sé si se acuerdan al final de las elecciones entre Kamala Harris y Donald Trump, había gente del Partido Demócrata. Nosotros ya levantamos $1,000,000,000. Ustedes no llevan ni la mitad. Es de, imbécil, ¿estás orgulloso de que se están chingando $1,000,000,000 de todos ustedes, bola de pendejos? Sí, están orgullosos. Ya levantó mi candidato todo este dinero que yo le tuve que dar gratis para que se lo robara todo. Pero ve qué padrote. No podemos seguir haciendo eso en Estados Unidos. Tenemos que deshacernos de esta gente, pagarles un salario bien a nuestros políticos, que sea un placer hacerlo, que sea un honor para ellos y tenerlos removidos de todas estas ganancias deliciosas. Nunca va a cambiar la cosa, pero esas son ideas sensatas, damas y caballeros, de un loco que completamente perdió la cabeza hace muchos años y te cuenta solamente con teorías conspiranoicas. Es lo único a lo que me dedico estos días. Entonces, solamente quiero poner eso sobre la mesa. Tal vez una idea más loca que todas las demás, igual y bombardear de izquierda a derecha, nunca parar y seguir recordándole a todo el mundo, ¿por qué no puedo salir de mi tierra y por qué tengo que hacer esto todo el tiempo? Tal vez no sea una solución, tal vez, ¿no? Igual y eso, que siguen corriendo en círculos sea la solución, pero yo diría, ahora, de nuevo, yo qué sé, yo solamente soy un imbécil, pero yo diría, igual y dejar de matar a la gente sería importante. Y la segunda, poder cambiar nuestro sistema político y a nuestros políticos que organizan todo esto y que comparten todas esas deliciosas, han visto, ¿no? En X todos los políticos ya salieron, I stand with Israel. ¡Ah! ¡Pobrecitos! Pobrecitos. En fin, vámonos al casino del tío Salo, vamos a divertirnos, vamos a disfrutar de este mercado que se pone interesante, sobre todo cómo está empezando en este momento. Y de nuevo, se siente como una buena oportunidad alcista viene. Me gustó el flush que le hicieron a Bitcoin ayer. Me encantó, honestamente. Eso me dice que sacaron a toda la gente que estaba en long, que no estaba preparada desde un buen punto. Y vámonos para arriba. Es lo que yo pensaría vamos a ver en el mercado el día de hoy. Pero aquí les traigo a Alex y a Farhan para que de verdad nos digan a dónde va esta cosa, dónde lo ven, para que ustedes saben, no tengo ni idea, pero vamos a escuchar de ellos. Yo se los voy a traducir todo. Y para ustedes que quieran aprender hacer trading acá con nosotros, dense una vuelta a nuestro Discord. Es absolutamente gratis y aquí van a poder aprender de absolutamente todo lo que necesiten para volverse buenos traders. Y también, no nada más aprender, pueden venir a platicar en el chat general con toda la gente. Ahí está Mango ya listo, llamado temprano. Y vengan a ver si la gente tiene buenas ideas, si no tiene buenas ideas, si estás compartiendo lo que estás viendo en el mercado. Es siempre bueno apoyarte en otros. Aquí tienes todos los análisis del buen Alex, tienes también los de Farhan. Recuerden, los menús están en el lado izquierdo y todo lo de dentro del menú está del lado derecho. Vamos a ver cómo nos llevó Cookie Studio. Nada mal, 13, 18%. Bien, bien, ahí está Tenoch, un fart. Esto es una mamada. Con Fartcoin un 39x y hace 368% de ganancia. Felicidades, cabrón. Bien jugado, bien jugado. Un 200% en... no mamen. Les voy a ser honesto, Tenoch. Son unos enfermos. Son unos absolutos enfermos. Por supuesto que tenía que ver a Tomatito haciendo 669%. Por supuesto tenía que pasar eso. Estimados, vientos, vientos. A ver, por fin, Tomatito. ¿Cómo puedes perder 246%, Tomatito? ¿Cómo es posible eso? A ver, ya se recuperó, no se preocupen, 433% arriba, obviamente con solamente un 500X. Nada mal. Subió $1 Bitcoin y ya hizo miles de dólares con eso. Y si se preguntan cómo hacen esto, nosotros tradeamos en exchanges de futuros, ¿ok? Y todo esto lo van a tener aquí en donde dice partners y los enlaces, ¿no? La cadenita oficial. Los tienen acá para entrar a todo esto. También, si quieren entrar a nuestro torneo de trading, ahí vieron el último enlace, fue a lo que le piqué. Cáiganle por acá. Estamos en medio de nuestro absoluto torneo de trading en Bluffing. Y para los que quieran aprender cómo usar el exchange para meterse por ahí, saben tradear, pero nunca han tradeado futuros, simplemente caigan a nuestro sitio web, vénganse a Tutos. Y en Tutos le van a picar, se van a esperar media hora. No, no es cierto. Y le van a picar. Ese soy yo, ¿no sabían? Así me veía yo de chavo. Y aquí tienes un video de 5 minutos que te enseña cómo usar Bluffing. Bluffing es uno de los exchanges de futuros que usamos, uno de los dos. Este es solamente criptomonedas, es buenísimo. En 5 minutos aprendes cómo fondear la cuenta, cómo mandar dinero, todo esto. Y aquí tienes el enlace. Usando este enlace vas a poder participar en el torneo de trading que está ya desbloqueado, 6,000 de los 10,000 USDT que vamos a dar a los ganadores. Así que atentos, atentos, atentos. Se viene con todo. Y esto también, si quieren usar BTCC, que es donde estoy tradeando Tesla y todas estas acciones también tokenizadas, funciona igual que esto. Simplemente tienes otro menú de futuros y ya. Sin más ni más, les traigo aquí a Farhan y a Alex. Vámonos con todo, a darle al casino. Ya saben, van a hacerle los análisis en inglés, se los paso yo en español acabando y empecemos con esto. All right, I need to give Farhan a second. He's choking over there. Hang on, there we go. All right, sir, good morning.
Buenos días, muchachos.
Good morning, boys.
How are you guys?
Doing good.
Doing well. Waking up in a strange place, but it's nice.
It's always weird, like in the middle of the night. I don't know if it happens to you when you're like at a hotel or you're just going into a new place and you wake up and you have no fucking idea where you are in the middle of the night.
To me. I woke up, I was like, where the hell am I? And I was
what
like,
the fuck is this? Yeah. Why is there a naked midget in the corner? That always happens. It's really weird.
Only on the crazy nights.
Hey, what's going on?
It's only concerning if your asshole is sore.
Well, yeah, of course. Or if one of your fingers is really feeling tight, because then it's a little gay. The midget, I'm guessing, is a guy and not a girl midget. Not because wouldn't it be a midget? Like if it's a female?
Yeah,
right?
He's gonna be a midget.
That's what I'm saying. A midget.
A midget.
Let's get started with this.
Midget, por favor.
Sir, they don't sell them in stores yet, but soon. No. What do you got for us, Alex? What's going on with the Bitcoin? Yesterday was insane. Insane, dude. I've been having so much fun looking at the market. I'll let you roll. Let me just put the... let's go.
It was pretty insane. Last night specifically, I mean, we got the obvious already announced. Everyone was well prepared. News with Israel, Iran. That caused, Bitcoin risk to kind of sell off. We were noticing towards the end of the day as well. We wanted a rally, and we actually got the opposite. Markets were pretty bullish, though, going into yesterday. If we remember, we were holding the daily 9. It seemed like Tether dominance really seemed primed to break down. But with news and headlines, often brings volatility. And so as a trader, we just adjust. And so what we had was an actual loss of the daily 9. And that was very obvious to us. And that was something we were saying heavily and watching closely. Because the daily 9 was something that was guiding Bitcoin from the low 80s all the way to all-time high. There was no reason essentially why bulls shouldn't hold that or shouldn't lose that essentially. And so what we had yesterday was a loss of that. And then as soon as we closed this candle, Bitcoin, it ended up dumping almost 3% instantly, not even giving any kind of rally, retest, or any of that. But we actually, got a nice move down. And so now where are we on the chart? Well, when we're looking at the 12-hour, I was really focused on the daily EMA 100 and the 12-hour EMA 100. And of course, the 12-hour will get hit before the daily. And so this was a big area of interest for me. What I liked about this was that it was right around my zone around 103.1. 103.1 remains a big spot for me on Bitcoin because as long as you're above 103.1, you do avoid the capitulation scenario that that is still looming if we end up losing specifically this 12-hour EMA 100 and also losing 103.1. We could easily move down to 99.8 from that point. But that's why it's going to be really crucial to see how bulls kind of digest this news moving forward and how markets react. Because what we had was a swipe down, front run of the EMA 100, 103.1 held beautifully before going up. When you start looking at the lower time frames, it starts looking good, I'll be honest. But if you're viewing the meme lines, but when you start looking at the moving averages, specifically higher than a 4-hour, like an 8-hour, 6-hour, right? It starts becoming concerning because as long as you're under that EMA 100 on the 6-hour, you do have risk of being within this range, which is 105.5, just simply rejects the EMA 100, and 103.1 support. So markets, yes, we did get that dump down, and yes, markets overall held that zone at 103.1. 103.1. But it's still way too early, in my opinion, to be calling for a massive reversal out of here. We really got to see how these lower time frames develop, because even on the 2-hour, right? If I wanted to start giving longs here, and I was betting on a bottom, we had longs, it would just feel aggressive here because even on the 2-hour, you have a slight price divergence. You're under the 2-hour EMA 9. This was the first test after you dumped and lost it. So my point being is lower time frames are still bearish. Yes, you are above support, but you really got to start seeing bulls expand up from here to really then start convincing me that, maybe we did bottom, at least locally. Because when war dumps happen, at least in my tiny life experience, what I've seen in markets is these often give you major flash crashes that are just really over the top for like a day, maybe 2 days, and then you get consolidation for like a week, and then that should mark some kind of local bottom. Generally, war dumps do mark some kind of local bottom. It doesn't need to be the macro bottom, but just a local bottom, generally speaking. So moving forward, when we're still above the 34, we don't want to be front running breakdown ideas as long as support is doing what support should do. So, we have a lot of trapped bears here, and that's why it's going to be crucial now for bulls to kind of push up. At minimum, you should be gauging a move up to the daily EMA 9. That was a big spot of support. We just lost it. So if we do end up bouncing today, that should be the first area of interest. Now, if you start reclaiming back above the daily EMA 9, that's when I can start calling this potentially a local bottom. But until then, you just have to play, in between that, and be cautious that we could potentially reject that. Now, the 12-hour is giving you good confluence, potentially a bounce. You see here that the EMA 100 on the 12-hour, something we were watching on the Discord last night, has potential to connect with price. But again, you're just kind of like in no man's land here. You could easily try to punt along, hope that this wick low doesn't get broken. But price could easily just revert down, fill that wick, actually hit the EMA 100, trap all the longs here, or at least stop them out, and then trap late shorts before bouncing off the EMA 100. That's why it's still a tricky spot. It's not very easy, and that's why today I'm not really going to be positioning. I'm just rather going to be waiting and seeing how the reaction around the 1066 to 1068 is. Because even on the daily and 12-hour, it's all right around the same area. You have the daily 9 around 1067, then you have a cluster of moving averages on the 12-hour right around 1066. So, if you did end up getting a bounce, it's still kind of in a concerning posture where you could just simply reject, bearish retest, roll over. So, for me now, we're still now within the range. We've hit the bottom of the range. 1031 is support, the extremity support for me. 1044 is resistance. And so now being back above the 1044 is a really good sign for me. We just need to start seeing bulls move up from here. Because if we end up, filling this wick, yes, the 12-hour EMA 100 may get tested, and then that may spring us. But if that doesn't hold, then the daily really starts opening up. And visually, you can see that, right? If the daily starts closing anywhere under that 34, for me, it just will be easy. Closing under this wick low will mean you're in a breakdown while also losing the meme line. That does like to hold. Saw that in this really tight range here. Next target then will start really being around 99.8 to 98.3. And then that will leave the question on maybe an extremity wick down to the 95.5s. Previous breakout point, SMA 200 on the daily, fulfilling the bull prophecy of finally retesting it, giving us potentially a nice opportunity here. Because if we really do slap on like a weekly, if we did end up getting that dump down, it really wouldn't be a major concern for me. I mean, that would just hit the weekly 21. So maybe then the 9, it wicks below the 9, but the 21 should hold. And then when you go to the 2-week here, you can just see how we might just play around that 2-week EMA 9. So, I mean, again, still nothing really of concern. And then even going to the monthly here and throwing on, see the 5. Yeah, so that dump would take us directly around the 5 as well. I'll delete this now so you can see. So, I mean, if we do end up losing 100K, I'm still not going to be extremely concerned until we actually lose the daily EMA 100. That's just always my criteria. When we lose a daily EMA 100, and I've said this many times, specifically the EMA 100 and the SMA 200, we can front run ideas with the EMA 100. That's when I really do like to be aggressive on the short side. And that just ends up working well. Played out well here when we were going down. You lose the EMA 100, we can get aggressive shorting, print this whole way down, cover on the SMA 200, reshort on the retest. So, I mean, just based on the EMA 100, you have many trades, SMA 200 as well. And that's why the reaction, if you end up dumping, is going to be key. But remember, bears understand that losing this will mean you're going to dump. So they're going to fight with their life to try to push up from here. Give you the price divergence, the local war bottom, 12-hour EMA 100 reconnects with price, and we can potentially start moving up. Let me fix that. And we could potentially start moving up. Really wouldn't surprise me. But again, just unsure yet. Let's check how the daily close on the HPR now. So we're under the...
It is a very, very interesting piece of information.
What?
That we're dumping after the amazing daily golden cross.
Golden cross.
50 SMA crossing over the 200 SMA.
I don't even use that. Oh wow! And those are usually memes. So is that a golden cross or a death cross?
We're getting a dump after a golden cross.
Oh,
Just proves how
with
it's
a
a meme.
bull moon too. Yeah, with a bull moon too. So maybe people were just really playing into that, which wouldn't surprise me. A lot of people do play into the golden crosses, death crosses.
It goes to show you what happens if you try to play a golden cross.
Oh yeah,
you get dumped on.
Yeah, and then it does leave the question on if the bull moon is going to fail. And that has a legitimate concern at this point. So what it fired off here. So I mean, I think the failure move is 7%, 8%. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Farn. So we're almost there. So it seems like this was a failed moon setup too. That's why it's just really crucial for bulls to step in. You're at the EMA 34 in the daily. It's the last stand. We're right back here at 103.1. This is a big zone because if you lose this, yeah, it's going to dump really hard down to below under 100K again. And that's why it's just going to be really crucial for bulls to just start stepping in. We can obviously consolidate. We don't have to bust up, but we just need to start really getting some convincing price action. When I see a dump and then just like a slow move up under resistance, it just often gives easy shorts. So that's why like this kind of price action isn't really making me have a trigger finger for longs, because this easily could fill this wick. You very well could do something like this even and then go up. But I'm just not convinced. And even like on the 4 hour, you're still under all major moving averages. Get back above like the EMA 100 at minimum on the 4 hour, then we can talk about a play. But until then, yeah, it just seems quite aggressive to be longing under here. And actually, you have a short setup because if we go to the 12 hour and you view this, a very simple trading strategy can just be based on that 12 hour EMA 9. Anytime you reclaim it, you can open a long. And then once you lose it, you can open a short. So it can just be a two-way thing. Some people only trade it to the longs. It does work on the short side though too. And so when you're under the 12 hour EMA 9, it's this opposite end on the long side. When you lose it, you just want to position long a short under it. So as long as price is under it, it does activate a short idea. You can see here having that would have printed nicely. These are, this is a loose setup, but more or not, it does work out when you're in a very trending market. And so if markets are going to start trending down, then this should start going down. We should reconnect with the EMA 100. This has to hold. If it doesn't, it's going to really start opening up the low 90Ks. And that's just kind of it for me. I mean, it's just really wait and watch mode. What are bulls going to do here? And for me, everything is still kind of looking weak. So we'll have to see. Consolidation on the EMA 34 would be a good sign. Let's see. I think the 2-day as well is closing the day. And you can see here we're losing the 9. 21 held, so that's good. But again, just kind of like at a big area. It really wouldn't take much to go back down to the 103s. So you just want to be cautious of that. But again, the hopium is that we are above meme line support. And that is a good sign. Visually, you can see this here. When we were, you just don't want to like break down from this point. If we can actually do what we've done, which is dump, hold, bounce, get back above 104.4, that's actually a really good sign because you can just notice right around this region is where Bitcoin likes to really dump hard. And it all starts with this 103.1. So it's just going to be extremely crucial to see 103.1 continue to hold. So that's Bitcoin. I mean, in summary, you're watching 103.1, you're watching the daily 34. Daily 34 gets lost. We'll give you a target to the EMA 100 as long as you're under that. Bulls are looking for at least a mean reversion bounce at this point, potentially. Bouncing from 103.1 to 104.4, moving up to that 12-hour EMA 9. This will be really crucial. You're either going to do this and then reject, giving you a nice stop loss here, with an entry at the 12-hour 9, channel breakdown, meme channel breakdown, bearish retest, lower high. Or you're potentially going to reclaim the 12-hour 9. This will then solidify a long trigger because in the lower time frames, like the 4-hour EMA 100 will get reclaimed, leading to maybe a daily EMA 9 reclaim. Once that does occur, we can then say that this was a local bottom at minimum. We should then start seeing 109.3s come into play. Back above daily 9, 109.3s can happen. Under it, though, really does open up 103.1 again. Lose 103.1, you're going to get a violent, aggressive move down to like 98s to like 99.8. And that's just based on what we've been saying all week. We wanted volatility to be firing off to the upside. This still is at risk of firing off to the downside now, as we've been seeing volatility is expanding while price is going down. Now under the daily 9, bulls ideas are kind of diminishing. So it's going to be really crucial to see them really pick up potentially today, or at very minimum, get back above the 4-hour EMA 100. like this kind of consolidation is what I like. This makes it easy to position right here, even if you're under resistance, because you at least see, okay, well, yeah, boom, 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 and you're above the EMA 100. You can like have a logical, confident trade, but this is the opposite. So actually, you should be looking for shorts around here because this is in a consecutive 4-hour downtrend. So that's why it's extremely crucial. And I think even if we throw the EMA 200 on the 4-hour, I mean, some hopium here, right? Is that you're there, but again, just kind of shows the extremity of the dump. Going to the EMA 200 is like, kind of extreme. So yeah, you definitely don't want 1031 to get lost. You will see under 100K again. So lower time frame trading will work well. I do believe viewing like an hourly, checking out these levels, making sure this low holds, checking to see 1044 keeps bouncing, could bode well for like lower time frame traders today. You start seeing this on like an hourly, yeah, this will be a really bad sign, and I'll think that this move will happen. And that could potentially be like a 3% move down. So debatable if it's big or not. Now, Tether dominance, let's see here. Some hopium. Got a little price divergence here under the EMA 100 on the daily. But again, this chart just shows how important today will be. Getting back above the daily EMA 100 would be a major sign for Tether dominance. That then can open up a busting move up to 5.23%. But this is still the rejection zone, just like this is the bounce zone on Bitcoin. So that's why you don't want to front run ideas. It is at support, so you don't want to be the guy max shorting here. That's not smart. Rather, you want to see if this is going to hold into today's close, see if the 34 is going to hold. Tether dominance, you want to see if the EMA 100 is going to reject. This will be very important because you very well could just form a channel here. This could just be this, and you could just be using this as like a mid-range. We've seen this before. I mean, we've seen this exactly here. But until the daily EMA 100 is reclaimed, this is still bearish. So there is hopium, but it again is only at 4.85%. Really wouldn't take much to reclaim that today. So just be aware of that. I mean, we did not get the breakdown here. This is looking like almost like a failed move, failed breakdown. I mean, so you have to be really cautious of that with Bitcoin on the counter end looking like a failed breakout. Here, if you're under the median, can move down to the 4.64%, but you're above it, and if you reclaim that, that could move you up to 5%. That has implications for reclaiming the EMA 100 and even this wick high here. So it's going to be very important to see that actually this zone, the daily EMA 100, reject if you are a Bitcoin bull. If you are a Bitcoin bear, you absolutely want to start seeing this EMA 100 reclaim and then just consolidate. Next objective, 5.23% on Bitcoin. That will give you your 99.8 minimum. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward today. You're just kind of in wait and watch mode. You want to really see how weak or how strong markets are. You very well could reject on Tether dominance today at the daily EMA 100, form that channel I talked about, start coming back down. But again, you don't want to front run ideas. Bitcoin is at support, but the daily still has 9 hours to go. And you're just in no man's land. It's really not good. So. And a 12-hour, this has implications for the daily. Because, if we're watching the daily EMA 100, the fact that the 12-hour has already reclaimed it is a big sign. You see here, it's lined up nicely with the 4.78%. It seems to me like Tether dominance wants to go back to 5%. Hopium now is that we just reject and we don't take out the last wick high on the 12-hour. But again, as long as you're above the EMA 100, you very easily could just consolidate here. Cause the HBDR ranges to step down, and then that gives us another shot, around the 5.07%. No matter how you look at it, though, and this could either be a major trap, unsure, but Bitcoin's looking bearish. I mean, the 12-hour, you're under all major moving averages. Volatility is still expanding. The daily here is at the 34. That just shows kind of how sold down Bitcoin is through this whole entire rally from 84s. You did not even test the 34 up until all-time high was already hit. So like from 84s up, you just rode the 9. On this move, we wanted this similar price action. Instead, you rejected 1/10 and then just slapped down to the 34. This is really weakness to me. So you're really watching today. 104.4, 103.1 has to hold. Daily 34 absolutely has to hold. The lower time frames on Bitcoin look rejective, i.e. the 2-hour can't even get back above the EMA 9. This has implications for a breakdown potentially, or at least going back down to support. And then your bulls are just kind of hoping that this wick low holds today. If you start taking out that wick low and then closing dailies under the 34, you could see 99.8 get hit fairly fast. Tether dominance is reclaiming the 12-hour EMA 100. It's a big sign for me because it's really going to be dependent on the daily, but this has implications. Now, we obviously can reclaim and then lose it, SFP it, but as long as we're above essentially 4.79%, this has a greater shot of actually reclaiming that daily EMA 100. If we start reclaiming this, I mean, yeah, nothing's really going to be stopping Tether dominance from going to 5.2%. So just be, just watch that, keep that in the back of your head. And then Bitcoin dominance is still bullish. I mean, let's see here. Let me go to the 2-day. The 2-day is always better on this chart. So you took out the low, you swiped it, hit the 34, but now you're breaking out potentially. 64.69% still remains the spot. You're seeing now you're potentially entering into a new range here. So very well could act like this, something like this. But again, you need to see either 64.9% break or 64.69% keep rejecting. I will say that bears are happy here from this wick high getting taken out. So you're going to want to start seeing this reject, but taking out these highs is a good sign. So it's just really honestly choppy. Higher time frames will be your friend on Bitcoin dominance. And 5 days still looking like a very solid uptrend to me, similar to like the 2-week. So again, only objective now is just to break the all-time high. And this 2-week candle is really primed for that. I mean, this is reclaim, held. Now this really can't start busting up if it wants. What you're noticing too is Bitcoin dominance is still bullish on a bearish Bitcoin. That is quite interesting to see, because then that's kind of the recipe. And I'll always say this. Now, usually this doesn't work out, but when you do start seeing a bullish Bitcoin dominance on a bearish Bitcoin, that's usually what you get in bear markets. And that's, and I said this before in early April and it didn't hold. But I will say that this is the recipe for decimation to altcoins. Because when you have a bullish Bitcoin dominance with a bearish Bitcoin's dumping, people are still rushing into Bitcoin. They're not really caring about altcoins. That's why you're starting to see them sell off and get to pretty dramatic supports now. ETH BTC here. So, just be mindful of that if you're trading alts. Not a good sign. I don't know what he said.
That's what I thought.
He said Puerto Miguelito.
Basically.
What did he say? Does anyone know? Does anyone know? That's crazy. Buddy just opened the front door.
That's fucking incredible.
Well,
That's now where I cut it off.
Yeah. I don't know what he was saying, honestly. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically it. You're just watching today. There's no reason to be aggressively positioning when you're at these levels. I mean, the aggressive bulls will be buying this 34, using this low as your stop. But for me, I don't think you need to be that aggressive. You can just wait. Simply see if the 34 continues to hold. See if this support continues to hold. And if it does, then great. You can see before we broke out, we had a few shots of like 103.1 to like even all the way down to 100,000. So this is a very volatile range. Like I just want everyone to understand that this is very volatile. So like I'm not convinced yet that the bottom's in. We need to at least very minimum bulls just give us like a 2-hour EMA 9 reclaim at minimum, and you're not even getting that. So definitely wouldn't be aggressive longs today. Or even shorting because you're at support. I'd rather just be waiting. I think the easy trade will come. So yeah, that's all I really have on Bitcoin. It's just more wait and watch mode. Just kind of seeing how markets digest everything.
Mr. Farham, want to share your screen?
Oh, my bad. I'm a little retard here.
Listen, no one's going to argue with you.
Alright, so I'll start with the 4-hour on Bitcoin this time. Let's start with the low time frames because we are getting a little bit of a breakdown. If you check out the 4-hour 21 and 55 EMA, they're basically touching tips right now. So on this next closure and open, they are very, very likely going to be silver crossing to the downside. That coincides with us getting probably a nice little dump ski from this area. And the next dump ski that we're looking at has a target point of somewhere around the 97.5%. And that would be right around that $100,000 area. Very likely we're going to go a little bit below there, and we're probably going to go to somewhere around that 99-ish thousand dollar area. And if we look at where that came to in our last zone we were there, what support zone is around that area? Is it this consolidation? Yeah, it's right around this consolidation zone before we had this busting action. Let's zoom out a little bit. What's more likely before that happens though is a little bit of a mean reversion bounce. If you look at momentum is now flipping back up, getting over the moving average while volatility contracts, and the jewel has now lost the sell signal. So the bounce is very likely to happen as long as you are over about $104,000. And that bounce could take you anywhere back up from this meme line to this 200 SMA. But you're unlike, and the 200 lines up at this bottom 38.2%, which you're very unlikely to continue higher and break this 38.2% based on the trend and the silver cross and the fact that you're below your meme line, every single one of your major EMAs. Very likely, if you come all the way up to this area, there's going to be a bearish retest of around $106,000 and probably going to go lower. And that probably happens when that silver cross does confirm. Go up to the daily. Daily is currently bouncing right at the bottom 38.2%, while momentum has shifted down to the reset point, while volatility is also at extreme lows. And the jewel in the daily has now lost the sell signal and it is currently rejecting the bullish control zone. Are we above? We are currently below the median as well. Median's at $104,800. Where if you look close below the median, more likely than not, you're going to come back and retest this 38.2% at least one more time. And that time around, this area probably is going to break. And that's going to take you towards somewhere around the 61.8% to the 100 EMA. That's about like $100,000 to about $98,000. Somewhere around this zone is where you're going to have your next major bounce, very likely. And this is what I'm thinking is going to be the macro bottom before we go to new all-time highs. I'm going to give us a nice little sweep of these lows, nice test of this 100 EMA, and very, very probably, and what I would love to see, what bulls would very much love to see, get a nice test of this 100 and then close above these quick lows. That would be mega bullish. That would be a very nice swing failure pattern. And then very likely after taking this liquidity, we're going to take this liquidity. Two-day as well as getting momentum flipping to the upside, but volatility is sitting at extreme lows. We're now getting that sell signal on the 2-day hasn't quite confirmed just yet. On this next one, very likely this pink is going to cross below the yellow, and that's going to be quite a sell signal happening in the bullish control zone. And the jewel is now starting to curve over. It's still on a neutral signal, but its curvature is now starting to curve to the downside. And we're losing the median on the 2-day as well. Shift to the index. 5 days getting a nice little tag and rejection of the median. looking quite bearish, and a closure like this is going to give us a minimum target of this 21 EMA and this 38.2%, right around $99,000. Beautiful target right there. Momentum is very close to making its way into the bearish control zone, but volatility is not resetting. And the jewel is giving us a sell signal. Very nice. Although there is a macro buy signal with the pink crossing over to yellow, this sell signal likely does make its way back down somewhere around here and flips back up, putting in hidden bullish divergence. And that goes right along with our bottom 38.2%, right around $99,000 to $98,000. Having myself a little sipski of Coke Zero.
I don't drink Coke anymore. I only drink Sueros. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I don't have those at this Airbnb. I'm at an Airbnb, good senor.
Those
So
motherfuckers.
not even the like host knows who that random guy who just like unlocked their door, walked in, knows who that was.
That's a nice little surprise, no? Like
Gotta
seeing the
love that,
host of the
right?
Airbnb just walking into his house whenever he feels like it. Did he take a shit in your bathroom?
No, the host
Like, hola, buenos dias, senor.
Oh, buenos dias. All right, I'm out.
My bad. My wife's backing up the restroom. I gotta use yours.
Sorry, G, mine's already at the club this morning.
Oh.
Come pull up. No, yeah, the host said that they don't even
Weekly-
know who that was, so it was just a random.
That's a
person
little
that
weird.
opened their
They have
door.
Oh,
access
wow.
to open the random people who they don't even know have access to opening their apartment.
It's not a big
Love that.
deal. It's
Pretty
just
weird.
Mexico. It's pretty
Yeah.
safe.
It's just Mexico. That's just Tio Enrique.
Yeah, exactly.
Weekly is not turning into quite the ugly candle. That's looking quite bad. This is the first time I've seen it, and that's quite scary. That's going to be a minimum move of $99,000 to $98,000 if we get a close like that. And our median right now is just above that $99,000 level. It's sitting at right around $100,000 on the weekly. Very probably we're going to go a little bit below there to that $99,000 area. And for the bull's sake, I hope we close the weekly above that median, because otherwise you have targets in the high 80s of $88,000. So let's just hope we hold that median, and then we can forget this whole episode happened, and we can go to $120,000. Fingers crossed that median holds. Right now, momentum is approaching the reset zone on the weekly, while volatility is sitting at extreme lows. So if that median doesn't hold, you're going to get that volatility expansion on the weekly to the downside. And the last time you had volatility expansion to the downside was right over here. Price went from about $95,000 to about $76,000. That was not fun. Well, unless you were shorting it, then it was very fun. 2-week right now is still getting momentum flipping to the upside, but volatility is at extreme lows, and the jewel is still giving you a buy signal on hidden bullish divergence, but it's a 2-week time frame, and these candles can take a long time to play out. And you could easily get it moved down to the 9 EMA on the 2-week, just put in another higher low, and it would still be very bullish. And that's sitting at $98,900. Very beautiful number. Well, the monthly as well is getting momentum flipping to the downside, right at the edge of the bearish control zone, and we are getting a rejection of the 38.2%, which would give us a minimum target of coming back down and reconnecting with the 5 EMA, which is a little bit below our $98,000 area. Right now, it's at about $97,400, about $600 below that area. Coming back to this area would be healthy, would be very bullish. It would just be creating structure, getting a nice retest of our major EMA, and then sending it back up. Now we will go to RSI. I have this pulled up because my brother texted me saying something about IRAs. I don't even know. I don't know how any of that shit works. And said he has like money he wants to convert. What should he buy long term? So like you should get Amazon and Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, just anything to me, that's an attractive play. Getting anything that will be heavily involved with AI, that will increase productivity and will create productivity. And I think the easiest play is Tesla, right? Because they're making robots that work for you, along with the car that works for you and all that stuff. So he's
I mean,
Tesla's
Tesla's a little bit of
easy.
a difficult sell for him because he's massively lib.
Does he like money or not?
I hope he buys it for that reason.
I mean, no one's, fucking ridiculous. I mean, does he love Mark Zuckerberg? He's a piece of shit and sold his information 1 billion times. Is he invested in Meta? You know what I mean?
No,
Are you going to invest in Robinhood?
that's why
From
that's
fucking
why I give him
Cialis
2
Capital or
options.
whatever the fuck it is. Huh?
So it doesn't seem like I'm just pushing Tesla. That's why I give 2 options.
Ah, I see. Smart man.
So then he's more inclined to buy Tesla.
Touche.
On the quarterly on Tether dominance, we've got regular bearish divergence, and we're very close to making a nice little bearish engulfing. And we're gonna have the bearish divergence as long as we're closing below 5.85%. And your next target is the neutral zone at 3.58%. It lines beautifully up with our monthly 100 EMA, right at that 3.5% area. And monthly currently has an active drive of hidden bearish divergence, which is going to be active as long as you're below 6.24%. That is quite high up right now. And your next move is the simple moving average at about 3.76%, pretty close to that monthly 100. And the bearish control zone is currently at about 3.17, just in between 3.7 to 3.1, which is that monthly 100. 2 week is now very close to putting in another drive of bullish divergence. It will confirm in 9 days and 10 hours if we close anywhere above about 4.75%. And that will likely send us to, at a minimum, to this 100, right around that 5.1% area. And that will very likely send Bitcoin to about $98,000. Weekly is very close to invalidating the bearish divergence. No, never mind. 2 days now invalidating the hidden bearish divergence. It will invalidate with a close above 4.65%. That will send us up to the bullish control zone, which is right now at 5.12%. Another target of that 5.1% area. Very likely Bitcoin is going to be taking a nice little dump ski. And nothing. Now we will switch over to Bitcoins. Quarterly still has 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence. It's going to be active as long as you're closing above 76,702. And your next move is into the bullish critical zone, which is at $200,000. That's only in this quarterly candle. In 17 days, that zone's going to update. Monthly has already invalidated the bullish divergence. The bearish divergence, and put in a drive of hidden bullish divergence. And your target currently is a simple moving average, which has been hit. And your next level is the critical zone, which that is at 160K. And nice little monthly reconnect with our 5 EMA right at $98,000. 2 week currently still has active hidden bullish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're above 74,441. And your next target is the bullish control zone at 125. Six-day has confirmed that hidden bullish divergence that we were talking about in the previous streams. And it's going to be active as long as you're closing over $100,000. And your next move is the critical zone, which right now is at 135. Daily has many drives of bearish divergence, which will be active as long as you're below about 110,617. 110,378, my bad. And your next move is the simple moving average, which right now is at 101, and then the bearish control zone is at 97.3. Nothing there. Now we'll go to momentum. Quarterly Tether is still pointed heavily to the downside, and it's going to be pointed down below 5.67%. But as long as we're closing over 2.23% on a quarterly basis, it will eventually confirm hidden bullish divergence, and then that will be the end of our up market on crypto. Monthly is still pointed to the upside, and it's going to be pointed up above 4.12%. 2 week is heavily pointed down, with volatility at extreme lows, and it's going to be pointed down below 5.6%. Weekly, it's heavily pointed down below 4.93%. 5 days currently pointed to the upside with a fresh silver cross down, and it's going to be pointed up above 4.49%. 2 days currently pointed up with the volatility set up at extreme lows. It's going to be pointed up above 4.61%. Daily is also freshly flipping up, rejecting the bearish control zone with volatility expansion up above 4.78. And 4 hours freshly flipped down, and it's going to be flipped down with volatility at extremes below 4.91. We'll go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is pointed pretty nicely to the upside over quarterly with volatility expansion from the lowest level ever, and it's pointed up above 95.2. Monthly is also freshly pointed up with confirmed volatility set up, and we are pointed up above 103.8. And the monthly has currently a volatility set up as a 100% hit rate of going in the direction of momentum, and we are currently pointed up. 2 week is also giving us a volatility setup, and we are pointed up above 92.6. 5 days well, it's giving us a volatility setup, and we are pointed up above 106.6, and that's on a closing basis. So if we close below that level in 2 days, this will flip down, which is kind of looking like a bow. 5 days well, it's flipping to the downside with volatility contraction, and it will be down below 101, let's say 111. 2 days well is giving us a volatility setup at extreme lows, and we are freshly flipping down, rejecting the bullish control zone, and we are flipped down below 107.6. That's not pretty. Daily as well is freshly flipping down with a derp of death and volatility expansion, and we will be flipping down below 105.7. Four hour is flipping on the short term to the upside in the bearish critical zone, and it's going to be pointed up above 103.4. So short term momentum is pointed to the upside. Likely, if we do continue up, we could get a nice test of that 200 right around $106,000, and then eventually likely does fail. On the high time frames, Bitcoin is still leading very bullish. Quarterly has never flipped down, never came slightly below the pivot one time, but it never closed. It's getting volatility expansion from the lowest level ever, and it's pointed up. Monthly has already invalidated the bearish divergence, put in hidden bullish divergence, and 2 week has hidden bullish divergence. Monthly has a volatility setup where we've confirmed the volatility expansion, and momentum is currently pointed up, and the monthly volatility setup has a 100% hit rate of going in terms of direction. 2 week has hidden bullish divergence, but the daily has many drives of bearish divergence, and the 2 week and the 5 day momentum is flipping down, which makes it extremely likely we're going to come down and retest that $98,000 to $99,000 level, maybe somewhere in the 97s, but high probability based off of the monthly hidden bullish divergence, the monthly volatility setup, that we're probably going to get bought up somewhere at the lowest scenario, somewhere in the 97s. And likely gets bought up heavily, and from there I would expect to go to all-time highs. And the invalidation of that is getting any tick below about $74,400 or getting any weekly close below about $100,000. If those two are happen, then you at the very least you're going to get some long form consolidation, or more likely you're going to get a breakdown. But right now I'm thinking somewhere around 97 to 99, get a bounce there, and then new all-time highs.
Very nice, senor. Thank you so much. We're going to continue, of course, with the S&P 500 and then Robinhood, which is hood.
Nice.
It's not hood like the
Don't do
people.
hood.
It's Robin Hood. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saving my people from the hood.
Exactly. That's what they say, but that's actually the trap to get people more in the hood because no one's making fucking money. With the presidential liquidations, you have no chance. There's no chance that you're making any money.
Robinhood, the guy used to steal from the poor, the rich and give to the poor. Robinhood, the app, steals from the poor and gives to the rich.
It's pretty epic, by the way. It actually is phenomenal the way that they're executing that. Absolutely brilliant. 12 hours, pretty cool.
It was poetic when they turned off the buy button on GameStop.
No, it's absolutely beautiful. Also, I love that GameStop was like, hang on, just for fun. I was
I think that was
promised
dumping.
wealth.
Yeah.
I was
Oi.
promised that the short has not been squoze, or the squeeze
Well,
has not been squoze.
I'm sure at some point he's going to squeeze and make everyone a trillionaire. I'm sure it's coming because they bought Bitcoin. So it's coming. It's
One of
coming.
these
Don't worry
days.
about it.
Did
One
you,
of
do you remember how that dude Roaring Kitty went up to being a billionaire and didn't sell?
Yeah, that dude is obviously working with them. Right? Like it's like what's
Yeah,
the
anyone
guy
would have sold after being a
the
billionaire.
retard the Win guy, the character that
James Wynn?
everyone yeah, that
Yeah.
dude is absolutely working with Hyperliquid. This is something we were talking
for
about.
sure.
If you're our exchange and you're listening to this, here you go. Here you go.
Nope.
Let's pretend we're making a $100 million trade and let's make it go viral. Everyone will root against it. Other people will root for it. People will talk about it. That's it. That's all it is. So let's do it. Okay. With that said, I want to get into the chart. Thank you. Thank you, sirs. Appreciate it. Nice and easy. Desde ayer estábamos viendo los Bitcoin, interesantes movimientos que nos ha dado, por supuesto, ese anuncio de guerra que nadie esperaba, más que el petróleo, lo empezó a ver 3 días antes, el dólar perfectamente, semanas antes, todo eso. Nadie lo esperaba, así que Bitcoin tampoco lo vio venir. Podemos ver que estamos empezando a crear este máximo en la tabla diaria, donde fuimos a los 111,000, y de ahí creamos este alto más bajo, pero también tenemos este bajo y un bajo más alto hasta ahora. Siempre y cuando no rompamos este bajo en los $100,000, básicamente, continúa en una clara tendencia alcista, aunque un poco dudoso siempre cuando tienes un bajo, un alto más bajo, básicamente. Vamos a empezar desde arriba para ver dónde estamos parados en este momento. Vamos a empezar con la trimestral, damas y caballeros, por supuesto. Continúa viéndose muy bien, continúa con el cierre más fuerte de toda la historia en esos 104,300, en esos 104,400, vamos a decirle en este momento, el cruce, el cierre más alto de toda la historia. Antes había estado por ahí de los 93,000. Esto lo pone en una excelente postura, creando como todo estructura alcista en todos lados, con bajos, bajos más altos por todos lados en la tabla, altos, altos más altos, altos más altos, más y más altos. Así que por acá continuamos. Además tenemos ese setup de volatilidad tan potente en la parte de abajo. Recuerden, este es nuestro indicador que se llama BBWP. Línea de colores es volatilidad, línea blanca es el promedio, la volatilidad al 100% en la línea roja, 0% en la línea azul. Yo puse esta línea meme verde porque nos gusta ver a volatilidad entrar por debajo del 15% y disparar. Esos son los mejores setups, pero también son buenos cuando ves que la volatilidad ha populado tan poco en una tabla trimestral y está en el punto más bajo, haciendo una expansión por encima del promedio justo acá, y eso nos está dando estos movimientos a la alza, es lo que está apoyando mínimo ese movimiento de la volatilidad. Voy a ponerles el gráfico con el HPDR para que se me haga chico, el HPDR, la pantalla, y vamos a empezar a analizarlo por acá, a ver dónde estamos justamente. Venimos justamente de rechazar la parte alta de la zona azul, acá en los casi 113,000, hicimos un front run de ello. En el pasado hemos hecho esto, por supuesto, acá, hemos pasado por ahí, lo hemos tocado por acá y después hemos expandido. Así que siempre y cuando estemos por encima de la media que se encuentra en los $88,900, básicamente esta línea meme amarilla, todo se ve muy bien y deberíamos ir a buscar esos 113 primero y de ahí tener el otro objetivo que continuaría, serían los $150,000, pero vamos paso a paso. Paso a paso, tíos, que hay guerra, ojo, ojo. Aquí, ¿qué estamos buscando si somos alcistas? Básicamente en la mensual, rápido pongo volatilidad porque la volatilidad está expandiendo en este momento en los Bitcoin, uno de los puntos más bajos de toda la historia, y estaba hasta ahora apoyando este movimiento a la alza. El HPDR tiene la media aquí arriba en los $137,000. Una vez que tomemos control sobre la zona por arriba de los 105,900, vamos a poder entrar en la zona azul y nos da una muy alta probabilidad de ir a pegarle a esa media en los 136. Pero tenemos que cerrar por encima de los 105,900 esta vela mensual. Todavía faltan 17 días y 10 horas, todo puede pasar. Lo que no queremos hacer es perder el 9 por acá en los $92,000. Si llega a perder esa zona, yo diría los 94 porque es el 50%, eso abre la puerta a venir hasta los 84. Así que la zona a no perder deberían de ser los $95,000, $94,000 más o menos por acá para que esta tendencia no sea afectada para nada. Vamos a la de 2 semanas. ¡No! La tiré a la basura. No sé si vieron. Excelente. Perdón. Mis estupideces. 2 weeks. También me gusta. Vamos a ponerla 2 semanas. 8 de la mañana tenemos un setup de volatilidad justamente por debajo. Trump, Putin, Putin, Trump, 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 Putin, Aquí estamos por debajo, estamos intentando por debajo del 15%, creando un setup de volatilidad de esos bonitos, que nos daría un movimiento de 35% en promedio. Está la volatilidad por encima del promedio, lo pueden ver acá, y lo único que estamos esperando es a que expanda por encima del 15%, sea a la alza o a la baja. Esta vela de 2 semanas está horrenda, tiene cara de vela topera, pero por dónde está parada y porque está rebotando en el promedio del 5, que de nuevo son los 102,327, donde yo esperaría que el precio encuentre reacciones como lo ha hecho acá y justamente dio ese rebote. Está aguantando. Siempre y cuando eso aguante, no tenemos que voltear para abajo a estos $95,000, 560, que es una vez más donde está mi línea meme y por ahí donde está la media, que también está en los 92. Así que esta zona debe de aguantar. Queremos que aguanten esos 102,000 para dar continuación y veamos a dónde nos va a llevar este cero de volatilidad. Si medimos para arriba, de donde estamos ahorita, 35% nos llevaría, un segundo, no quiero hacer nada de eso, nos llevaría básicamente a los $140,000, 35% para abajo. Sería un viaje de vuelta a los $67,000, que fue uno de los altos históricos, el primer alto histórico, ¿no? Me parece que es lo que fue en el pasado. No hay necesidad de irnos de vuelta. Semanal. Semanal, no, ahí está mi volatilidad apareciendo, está dándose la vuelta y está a punto de empezar está a punto de empezar a bajar por debajo del promedio y eso nos diría que la expansión de volatilidad está acabando y tiene que hacer un buen reset, a menos de que se voltee y dé continuación. Por ahora, estando donde está, lo hace un poco irrelevante. Lo que tenemos por acá estamos por encima del promedio del 5 en los 104,000 y el 9 está en los $100,000. Esta va a ser la zona crítica a aguantar, en mi opinión, sobre todo viendo la tabla semanal. Aquí es donde vayas a tener una oportunidad gigante para irte en long y dar continuación, porque todas las tablas en altas temporalidades se ven bastante bien. 5 días. 5 días tenemos básicamente, ¿dónde está la media? En los 109, rechazo de la media y ahora vamos cayendo en los 104. La parte baja de la zona azul está en los 100,120 y además abajito tenemos el 21, lo que agrega un poco de confluencia que esa zona va a ser la de no perder y también un poco a lo que está diciendo Farhan, de poder aguantar en la zona azul. Nuestro objetivo tiene que ser la media y romper la media en 109,745 nos debería llevar a la parte alta de la zona azul en los $120,000. La de harina, la diaria, damas y caballeros, la diaria nos enseña un poco de debilidad, chingada madre, un poco de debilidad como yo por el queso y el vino, y esa debilidad la vemos donde, en el promedio del 5, el 9 y el 21. ¿Por qué? Porque el 5 está a punto de bajar debajo del 9 y el 21 también está a peligro y eso sería debilidad, pero todavía no hay nada, nos está aguantando el promedio del 34, que es la línea blanca que está abajo. Siempre y cuando aguanten esos 104,500, deberíamos tener una posibilidad una vez más de ir a la media en los 105,500 y de ahí rompiendo a la alza a los 109,000 y eso muy probablemente nos dé camino para adelante. Pero para ponerlo sencillo, simplificar todo esto, déjenme ver algo rápido. Habíamos tenido este setup de volatilidad que se estaba dando la vuelta y efectivamente también acompañó a este empuje a la baja en la diaria en Bitcoin. Les voy a decir, estaba viendo la de 12 horas, me llamó la atención la de 12 horas porque justamente nos está rechazando el 55 donde está mi línea meme. Eso me dice que nos debería llevar al promedio del 100 y ese promedio del 100 continúa apareciendo este número en los $102,000 si lo han visto. Y ahí les va. Puesto sencillo, lo voy a poner en la diaria, ahí lo vieron. Esos 102,000 es el promedio del 55 acá en la diaria. Denme un segundo. Quiero estornudar, perdón. Su puta madre. Digo, salud. Gracias,
Salud.
Alejandro. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Salud.
Oh, gracias. Gracias, señores. My monitor is all fucking full of jizz from my mouth, but we'll see what
Oh
happens.
yeah, that's the worst.
That's the bias
At least it's
talking.
not on the camera.
It's not just saliva on there. There's mucus on there too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, there is. Yes, there is. Para todos ustedes, lo que estamos viendo es bastante sencillo. Esperaríamos, si no podemos aguantar este nivel en los 104,500, justamente acá, dar una vuelta a estos 102,000. Los 102,000 sería nuestro siguiente nivel y el último nivel a aguantar va a ser justamente por acá en los 98,000. Si llegamos a perder los 98,000, probablemente nos vayamos a cocinar para abajo. Estas serían grandes oportunidades de hacer un long, cualquiera de estas, plum, 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 para arriba. Puede dar el para arriba acá, lo puede dar acá o lo puede dar acá, es lo que estamos viendo por ahora. Ahora, ¿dónde está? Sabemos si estamos equivocados. Si tienes un cierre por debajo de esta línea meme y debajo del S&P 200 en los $94,000, eso quiere decir que vas a ir a ver bajos más bajos. Si tienes cierre semanal debajo de los $100,000, debajo de los 100,000 semanal, esto quiere decir que nos vamos a ir absolutamente más para abajo y probablemente a consolidar de lado por un rato. Si tenemos un cierre diario o alcanzamos simplemente en un wicazo abajo de los 87, vamos a tener continuación a la baja. Así que ahí tienes esto bien medido. Simplemente es cosa de aguantar estos niveles. 102, en donde está en este momento tal cual el precio, y el último por ahí de los 98. Esos serían buenas zonas para entrar en long y aprovechar los rebotes, y cualquiera de estas zonas muy probablemente también te dé un rebote, porque cada que estás cayendo ante uno de estos promedios es lo que ocurre en el precio de Bitcoin. Todavía se ve alcista, tiene cara que en corta temporalidad puede dar una corrección, pero ahí tienes los niveles de la corrección y también dónde está la invalidación de lo que estamos diciendo, que son los $100,000 para abajo en cierre semanal o diario, simplemente tocando por ahí de los $86,000, nos pondría en la fotografía de que todo se va a ir al culo en este viernes 13. Pero por ahora todo se sigue viendo bien, nada loco. Honestamente, no creo que esto vaya a tirar el mercado como todo el mundo cree. Pero ya veremos. So, who's next? Alex, what do you got there?
Yeah, we got ES1.
ES1, perfect.
Okay, cool. So last night we had a nice aggressive dump. We lost 6,012 in validating the Academy short. Here now, this is actually very key because you had a slight trend shift here on the daily. So now what we're looking at is potentially a short opportunity on today's daily close, but you want to see the daily 9 get lost, and you want to simply see 6,012 reject. You start going to the lower time frames, you're already seeing this. Broke down, and now you're rejecting the 6,012. It's looking pretty heavy to me. Deviation of the 2-hour 9 and the EMA 100, rejection of the 21. This is looking primed to dump, in my opinion. Next objective would be around 5,948. This is a 2-hour, so we then can look at that as maybe markets do end up filling some of this wick towards the end of today. A lot of people are convinced the bottom's in. Maybe not. We'll have to really see. And that's why today's close is going to be really important for Bitcoin, for ES1. You really need to start seeing daily 9s start holding, specifically for stocks. 21 got, hit, so cool. But we got to start seeing the 9 get reclaimed. You're really going to have a risk of rejecting the 9 and coming back to the 21, possibly playing within that range. You see here the 34 is at 5,869. So that is still looming, and with the trend shifted down, I mean, you would be looking now for the next lower high, maybe, into Monday, before making that lower low down right around that daily EMA 34. Weekly too. I mean, you just see some resistance still being resistance. Wanted the breakout move, but again, markets as a whole looked like this was a major false breakout. So now we're just back within this range. Viewing this range here, you see once you're under 6,012, Next objective will be the weekly 9. That's lining up nicely with the daily EMA 34, right around 5,842. If you lose that, though, you're going to make a move down to the range lows. And then that ideally will hold, but bulls really don't want this low here on, it was May 19th low to get taken out. When looking at the HBDR, we are at extreme. So the hopium was that bulls were going to reclaim 6,012 on a weekly and then consolidate above there, shifting these HBDR ranges more up, I guess. But that didn't happen. We are now rejecting it, and ES1 could easily come back down to this region right around 5,840 to like 5,760 if bulls cannot reclaim the daily 9 today. Because if they can reclaim the daily 9, this could just look like a sweep, still held support, ideally gets back above 6,012. It'll leave a nice wick, but if that doesn't occur, this wick will get filled again. And that's just how markets are sometimes. They can look very bullish like ES1 yesterday, and they can shift. That's just how it is. That's why as a trader, you have to shift when the data allows it. So that's why today, this daily is going to really be telling to me if you start losing 6,012, daily 9, maybe we start looking for shorts on ES1. You are at support, though. You see the 2-day EMA 9s above with the median potentially holding. So there's some hopium. 3-day as well, trying to hold the median. Yeah, just not really looking the best.
Nice.
Yeah. And you see if you lose the 38.2%, this will take you right down to that daily EMA 34. This is on the 10-day. This is right at 5,863. So you keep seeing that number pop up a lot, 5,800 to like the high 5,700s. Even here, weekly 9. Weekly 9 hasn't been tested since this bottom here in early May. So again, you would be looking at that as maybe an opportunity if trend doesn't get invalidated. I'll say that again. If trend right here, this higher low doesn't get taken out. Higher high, higher low around the weekly 9, maybe move up. So yeah, that's it. Daily to me is trend shifted. You're now in a downtrend. Bears are looking at 6,012 to be a short opportunity. You're going to be gauging essentially that you can either use this breakdown high or this wick high if you don't want to get liquidity grabbed as a stop loss. Your objective now will be the 34. So you'll be looking at the 34, confluence with the SMA 200. Ideally, that'll hold. This just looks like in the process of a breakdown. When you start seeing markets bounce like this at a 21, but still finding resistance under the median, meme line, and EMA 9 with the trend ever so slightly shifted. As you can see, we shifted it by like a few dollars, maybe like $2. This bounce doesn't look very healthy to me. And rather so, if you were longing this, convinced you caught the bottom, this actually could make a good recipe for a round trip scenario if daily 9 doesn't get reclaimed. So that's why today on Bitcoin, on ES1, on Tether dominance, a lot of closures are happening. It's going to be quite important. This is still a risk of, lower high on the monthly. This has always been the objective. Now we can use daily and lower timeframes like what we were doing yesterday to hopefully gauge a breakout move. But, with this now still rejecting at these spots, you do have to be very cautious of this being a lower high. You have a monthly downtrend still in play. We talked about the only objective at this point was an all-time high, but rejecting here was a really big concern because what you have now is a bearish retest on the monthly.
Quarterly bearish divergence.
Yeah, really? And that did populate last quarter. Yeah, I think that did populate.
Yep,
last
you've got quarterly bearish divergence.
With monthly BBWP reset on a fresh trend shift,
quick.
That's
we need to
always
send
been
Israel $1 billion. Protect their bags.
This was the last time the monthly trend shifted. Higher low, higher high, higher low taken out, lower high. That's where we're possibly in right here. We're possibly
quick
right here.
Print $2 trillion. We'll reverse the market tomorrow.
It's funny how that works, but he does. It's terrible.
After the trend shift, ES1 dumped almost 23%. So, and this was off the backs of low volatility. Now, the difference here is you have lower volatility than you've had during this session. So that's interesting to see for sure. And that's why, still 17 days, but it's really going to be important to see bulls actually get back above these highs. They really can. It's going to start looking like a lower high in the monthly and into maybe next month. This is going to start dumping hard. It's going to be very important. Something as simple as this really can hold. And you even just get confluence of this idea on the HBDR. So with quarterly bearish divergence, monthly BBWP reset. So yeah. And that's always been my fear here. That hasn't changed. Now, we can obviously hope and see if the all-time high will break, but as it stands now, this rejecting 6,012 is diminishing that. So under 6,012 on like a daily, even a 4-hour is really not good for me. So you have an objective now as a bull. You need the daily 9 reclaimed, and you need 6,012 to hold. If 6,012 continues to not hold, that'll be the first loss of support, right? Support. Daily loss of it opens up potentially an SFP play with a bearish retest short. So it's something we'll be watching, specifically with the trend shifted down the daily. Overall, ES1 is just in a no trade zone for me right now. You'll get more data, which will give you more clarity on today's close into Monday. So yeah, that's really it. Not a good sign seeing this trend shifted. Hopium for bulls was that this was going to hold right here. You are not going to take out this wick low, but instead you did take it out. So just that little key detail changes everything for me. And now you really have to be cautious of a breakdown here. Going to like a 2-hour. It's all going to just start at 6,012, right? Breakout, combustion on lower time frames. Breakout, it's all at 6,012. But until then, this is potentially going to try to hold this top here and roll over at the 34. So just be cautious of that. Markets really need a bounce before the daily. So it doesn't really matter what happens now. It's 6 hours. So into daily is what matters for Bitcoin and ES1. All else is just chop, and you're kind of in like a no trade zone. At least how I look at it. You're just in the midst of forming either a short trigger or holding support still. And that's really it. So
that's correct, Wendy. Thank you so much. Let me see. Farhan's doing the hood. So we're doing right after Nvidia and then Rivian.
Nice.
They always say it's good in the hood, but they never fail to acknowledge that there are many socioeconomic problems in the hood.
That actually the hood is not all good, but no one's actually put any attention to that. Terrible.
It's not good in the hood.
Society and rap lyrics are bad. They're not getting along. It's not all good in the hood.
No.
Oh man, I almost said something terrible. Jesus Christ. All right, I'm gonna get into this. Thank you. Holy fuck.
Could have got us all canceled.
Oh my God, in a second, by the way. That's one of those that you don't come back from. Although being a Mexican, I don't know. We'll
Hey,
talk about
if
it later.
Tekashi 69 can say it, why can't you?
Why can't I? Actually, when I moved to New York, I had no idea about any of this shit. And it was before cell phones and all that stuff. And I was going to acting class. And there was a black guy that had a lot of chains with 2 guys. His name was T-Money, or he went by T-Money. And he drove an Audi A7, which was really impressive in New York. And one day I come in and he goes, he sees me come in. He goes, "That's my Antonio Banderas looking," right? So I turn around and I look at him. This is in the middle of the hallway with everyone around us. I look at him like, "What's up, man?" And I tell him that. Everyone froze, looked at us. Dude looked at me and he goes, "That's what's up." And he just hugged me and everyone just let it go.
Hey.
That's how I know. That's how I know I belong in the hood. Fucking crazy. I had no idea what I was doing. So terrible. Anyways, let's get to this. Ahí está el SP500. Estamos usando, no, esto es SPX. ¿Por qué no estoy usando el ES1? Porque me salí de esto, brother. Estábamos justamente ayer viendo esto en nuestra clasecilla privada en el E-Trading Academy. Y andamos por acá viendo lo que está pasando en la tabla, damas y caballeros. Vamos a empezar porque, honestamente, si solamente estamos viendo esto, Me borro mis dibujitos pésimos. Si solamente estamos viendo esta tabla, no se ve nada mal rápidamente en la diaria, aunque podrías argumentar que este bajo cambia la tendencia de acá, pero también diría que esto es alto, bajo, alto, bajo, y no nos cambia en realidad como tal, ¿no? Es más, ¿saben qué? Déjenme hago esto para no ponerme en dudas. Exacto. Ah, no, sí. Espérense. Un segundo, vamos a verlo. Cambia la tendencia por un par de dólares, por supuesto, pero eso cuenta. Aunque no lo haga en closing basis, eso absolutamente cuenta. Simplemente voy a quitar esto. Ok. Y vamos a empezar en trimestral. Trimestral tiene una divergencia bajista. Eso es bastante malo para esto que solamente está subiendo a través del tiempo. Lo pueden ver acá. Tenemos las dobles chichis del 2000 con el dot-com bubble que acaba en la recesión del 2008-2009 y después nos catapulta hasta donde estamos ahora. Este es el 2021 al 2022, donde vemos la caída significativa que tuvimos y después este gran empuje a la alza. Viendo la estructura de velas, definitivamente esto continúa en posición alcista, solamente sabiendo que tenemos divergencias bajistas en esta temporada nos hace saber que a largo plazo el mercado va a tener una corrección, pero es muy, muy, muy lejos de estar pasando por ahora. Voy a empezar con esto también. Trimestral, y esto agrega un poco de confluencia a eso. En la trimestral, ES1 tiene este setup de volatilidad que nos llevó hasta arriba. Continúa empujando y puede claramente llegar hasta acá. Es lo que yo estaría esperando en este momento. Eso fue el 2021. Y tienen que darse cuenta que estamos ya en la parte alta del HPDR. Cuando llegas a esta zona, ya estuvo en el 95%, tienes menos y menos probabilidades de dar continuación al alza. Cuando estás justamente en la zona del 78%, tienes solamente 21.4% de probabilidades de dar continuación a la alza. Así que esto empieza a ponerse complicado para el SP500. Lo que me gustaría ver a mí personalmente es un cierre por encima de los 6.143. Eso nos debería de dejar un último empuje para esos máximos históricos en los 6.250 o hasta los 6.500. Podría también irse a extremos, le ha llegado al 100%, no hay duda alguna, y ese 100% está en los 8.000. Es un número bastante loco, pero el 97% puede ser tocado por ahí de los 6.820 o los 7.000. Pero lo primero que tendríamos que hacer es cerrar arriba de esos 6.148. Mensual, antes de poner el HPDR, y podemos ver que estamos en la parte baja del HPDR. Mensual sigue viéndose bien, estamos por encima, justamente tenemos una vela muy alcista, que es esta vela que dejó todo esto. ¿Por qué? Porque esto está absorbiendo simplemente liquidez, vino a engañar a todo el mundo que ahí se iba a quedar y bolas, güey, regresó para arriba. Lo que estamos viendo ahora, retomamos el promedio del 9 y nos apoyamos el promedio del 9 y el 5 está por debajo del 9, lo que lo pone en una buena postura, más o menos, para dar continuación. Lo único que tenemos que hacer es poder aguantar este nivel de los 5.877. Tal vez ya dio la corrección donde ahora vino a tocar y después va a irse para arriba, o tal vez todavía no. Vamos a analizarlo un poco más. Volatilidad está cayendo por debajo del 15%. Voy a poner una línea meme acá. Vamos a esperar a que venga el promedio y la volatilidad nos dé un setup de los buenos. Veamos esto hacer como mi nepe en las mañanas. Así lo tenemos que ver hacer esto. Por ahora, el SP500 está poniéndose sus moñitos y nos está dando la idea de que quiere aguantar esto y que va a ser un alto más bajo, pero normalmente las divergencias que acaban mercados alcistas es cuando tienes este alto y tienes un alto más alto acá. Eso es lo que normalmente vemos, pero de nuevo, si es lo que normalmente vemos y estamos acostumbrados, nos pueden cambiar el juego cuando sea. Ahora, viendo con el HPDR, estamos en la parte baja de la zona azul. Tenemos que aguantar claramente el promedio del 9. De no aguantarlo, vamos a tener una excelente corrección, mucho más pesada, y probablemente los 5.400 se vuelvan nuestro siguiente objetivo. Pero por ahora lo que estamos buscando a romper es, una vez más, los 6.007. De los 6.007 poder romper los 6.112 y eso nos pone ya en entrada para ir a buscar esos 6.400, que es la media mensual. 2 semanas estamos en la parte alta de la zona azul. Justamente queremos que aguante acá. De poder aguantar donde estamos en este momento, debería darnos continuación e ir a buscar estos 6,096. Estando en 6,096, vamos a tener una alta probabilidad de dar continuación al 78% y hacer un alto histórico. ¿Por qué? Porque también estarías venciendo esta línea meme que hasta ahora ha sido resistencia en este uptrend, como lo vimos en la mensual. Por ahora, el precio del SP500 está cayendo un poco por acá, pero con que aguantemos. Y la cosa es, este número, el 5,800, continúa apareciendo y apareciendo. Es un poco como Bitcoin con el 102,000. Vamos a mantener un ojo bien pelado por ahí. Podemos ver que estamos en extremos, empujando extremos y también en el HPDR. De nuevo, ya venimos del 100%, estamos cayendo 97, 95, 88 y justamente ahorita estamos acá. ¿Qué es lo que está buscando ES1? Cualquier cierre por debajo de 5,950 nos debería poner en 5,900 y eso nos debería de llevar a la parte alta de la zona azul, por ahí de los 5,700, 5,800. De poder aguantar y romper los 6,040, eso, 43, eso nos va a poner una vez más a buscar estos 6,100 y cacho, y eso nos daría la habilidad de ir a buscar máximos históricos, sea por mucho o por poco. La de harina vino a la parte baja de la zona azul a decirnos, aquí ya vine a tocar fondo, pero estando por debajo de la media que estamos, la media está en los 6,008 y estamos en 5,991, aunque esto parece estar dándose la vuelta el día de hoy, vamos a ver si se lo da o no, pero hasta ahora parece que se está dando la vuelta el mercado. Y a mí lo que me hace pensar eso, y esto es completamente fuera del análisis técnico, es que todas las noticias son a propósitamente espantadoras, si lo quieren ver de una manera muy estúpida. El mercado empezó a recuperarse en la mañana y sale Trump. No vamos a dejar de bombardearlos por semanas, no va a ser rápido. Es de, ok, no tienes que asegurarle a nadie que lo que estás haciendo que a nadie le cae bien va a continuar por semanas. ¿Por qué nos dices eso? Cosas así me dan pistas para actuar como imbécil, así que probablemente yo voy a hacer eso. Ustedes no hagan lo que yo hago, por el amor de Dios, es muy peligroso y muy tonto ser yo. Tenemos el promedio del 9 en los 6,000, queremos definitivamente poder romper esos 6,000, 6,007, esta línea meme va a ser clave. Una vez que estemos por encima, vamos justamente a la resistencia en diagonal de la línea meme que está en la parte alta de la zona azul en 6,068 y rompiendo el 6,068, 6,115 se vienen a la mesa y ahí altos históricos, damas y caballeros, volverían a abrir la puerta para ello y nos iríamos para arriba. Puesto sencillo, ahí les va. Si en la diaria podemos cerrar por encima del promedio del 9, los 6,004, 6,005, eso nos daría y nos pondría en una posición para poder ir a buscar la parte alta de esta línea meme en diagonal que viene para abajo y empezar a tocar la puerta para romper a la alza y poder consolidar y llegar a esos nuevos máximos históricos. Por ahora tenemos que esperar de perder el nivel de cerrar por debajo de nuestra línea, nuestro promedio, el 9 que está en los 6,005, esta línea amarilla básicamente, de cerrar por debajo, vamos muy probablemente a dar más downside en este movimiento y no has visto todavía nada porque este mínimo se llevó estos mínimos por nada y eso quiere decir que deberíamos abrir la puerta hasta los 5,800, que es donde está el siguiente mínimo, entre 5,800 o 5,800 o 5,750. Así que en diario solamente tiene que aguantar por encima del promedio del 9 y con eso estamos del otro lado. Estamos cerrando por debajo, no se va a ver bien y tal vez vaya a haber continuación a la baja. Qué maldita vela doji, y después te está dando una vela al CIS. Vamos a ver cómo acaba esta vela. Interesante. Pero no hay nada acá viendo las velas que me diga esto es topero. Todavía no. Así que con fuerza, con ansia y compromiso se gana en Francia. Vámonos a lo que sigue. Mr. Farhan, what the fuck were you doing? Oh, Hood. Hood, player.
Yes, sir.
Hood.
We're moving out the hood.
Fuck yeah. And we're going into Liberty Mutual.
But start with the monthly. Monthly is looking quite good, and we've got a little United States pattern right over here. Got some
Wow.
consolidation in your United States pattern. Now you're getting the breakout phase of the United States pattern. Your next clear target from getting over this previous lower high is going to be your current all-time highs, which was interesting how whenever it opened up, you got a nice little move up of around 140%, and then you got a nice rejection and then down only. And that all-time high is at about $85 right now. It's $12 up from where we are right now. It lines up with about the 78.6%. It's about 16% to the upside. Let's see if I can draw this from the all-time high to the current low. Let's see what that gives me above the all-time highs. And then above the all-time highs with three solid closures above, with the minimum three closures above $51, the next logical level based off of that is $370. That's pretty fucking high.
I can hear your
Let's
pussy
get
all the way from
momentum.
here.
That's Luna. 2 week is getting pretty extreme on momentum and volatility, sitting at 95%. The jewel is giving you a fresh buy signal, but you're very likely to get a pullback here first, considering you're getting all the way into the 90% range on the HPDR, plus momentum and volatility are sitting at extremes. And your targets for the pullback are somewhere with at a minimum reconnecting with your 5 EMA, and that's at about $65, and the 9 EMA sitting at about $58, $59. Somewhere around the 5 is where it's probably going to reconnect. And then if these HPDR ranges have stepped up by the time we reconnect with the 5, then I'd say we're good enough to move back to the upside. If we're still sitting in the 90% HPDR range, though, then I'd say it's more likely to come down to the 9. Weekly as well as hit very extreme levels on momentum and volatility, now starting to both contract. The jewel is still giving you a buy signal. Same area for a pullback, about $65. 5 days now contracting on momentum and volatility after hitting 100%. Jewel still giving you a buy signal, and we've put in a nice top candle. As long as $77.80 is holding as the high, we are more likely to come down to 65. 2 days well put in a nice top candle. Same highs before, $77.80. As long as we are below that area, we are more likely to come down to 60, 65. 2 days currently flipped to the upside. It is likely to flip down very soon, though. Probably on this closure, it is going to flip back down. We have lost the buy signal as well. Went to neutral. Dailies already flipped to the downside, but I'm looking to happen on today's closure for the 2-day. While volatility is now sitting at extreme lows, and we have a God mode by sell signal on the jewel, and we're about to get the pink crossing below the yellow as well. We are currently above the median slightly. The median's at $72.63. If we do lose that median, then we're going to come down to $65 probably pretty fast. If we close over the median, then we're going to get another try of 76. And then if we break these highs, then all of this idea of going to the downside is going to be thrown out, and we're going to go up. But we can very, very possibly contest this 38.2%, hold this high of 77.80, and then dump.
Easier to play
4
the
hours
short on
now.
this one.
Yeah, much easier. 4 hours now, also flipping freshly to the downside. Volatility is now at extreme lows at 2%. And the jewel is still on a neutral signal. So if you close over the median, that's going to tell you that you're going to get the move up first. Close below the median right now, it's 73.64. Then you're likely not going to get that move up first. Let's check the RSI. Nothing.
That's an insane chart.
Yeah, that's a proper parabola.
Yeah.
This is like Bitcoin in 2017.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Weekly has many drives of hidden bullish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're closing above $62.92. Your next target is the critical zone, which right now sits at about $99.59, about $100. Daily has 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're closing above $68.56. And your next move is the critical zone. It sits at about $79.60. Only $6 higher than where we are now. The significance is it would take out that lower high. We'll go to the momentum. Monthly is freshly flipped to the upside with volatility expansion freshly expanding, volatility freshly expanding too. Interesting. And we're flipped up with above $72.43. And we are putting in hidden bullish divergence with the momentum going below all of these lows. Price is putting a significantly higher low. Nice on this.
Ain't that
on
the
this
daily
previous
median
monthly.
too? Isn't that the
What?
daily median with the flip? Like literally exactly the 72.43?
I don't remember.
1 second. I'll tell you. I got it. So you don't have to go 1 and 1. It's 72.63.
Oh, right around this level. Interesting.
Crazy. Mm-hmm.
And the last monthly closure confirmed the hidden bullish divergence. So we confirmed hidden bullish divergence at $65 on the monthly. Targets of $100 don't seem too crazy.
Nope.
Monthly volatility set up with hidden bullish divergence. 2 week as well as getting a volatility expansion now with momentum flipping to the upside, putting in hidden bullish divergence on the 2 week also, and it's going to be flipped up above $52. Why is Luna crying? Weekly is also getting volatility expansion with momentum flipped up as long as you're above 59.34. 5 days well is getting volatility expansion flipped up above 66.20. 2 days currently flipped to the downside. Volatility is however contracting, which is some hopium. And you are flipped down below 76.44. Daily as well is flipped down. And you are also getting volatility contraction on the daily, some more hopium. And you will flip up above 74.96. 4 hours also flipping to the downside. 4 hours got extreme lows on volatility. So here's where 4 hours going to decide whether you're going to get that breakdown or the breakout. And you are currently flipped down below 73.82. And you're very close to that number. 2 hours freshly flipped to the downside. Very interesting. Also has a volatility set up at 15%. And you are flipped down below 74.03. Kind of makes it a lot more likely that 4 hours don't break down. And hourly as well is flipped down. Interesting. And daily is flipped down. High time frames on Robinhood are extremely bullish. You've got a United States setup right here. You've got targets inside of current all-time highs. You have monthly freshly giving you hidden bullish divergence and flipping to the upside with volatility expansion. You have 2 week giving you hidden bullish divergence and currently flip to the upside. The lower time frames are currently flipped down. With the daily flip to the downside, the 2 day flip to the downside, and the 4 hour, the 2 hour, the 1 hour flip to the downside. So this likely you're going to come back down and retest somewhere around the high 60s, somewhere around $65 to $68. Very likely that area is going to hold as a higher low, and then probably you're going to go somewhere around 76.90 first, and then 79.60 first, and then somewhere around 99.60 for your RSI targets. The invalidation of this is getting any tick below about 29.66 or a weekly close below about, yeah, it's pretty far down.
Yeah.
I guess if you want to be aggressive, you could use about, if you want to be more conservative, you could use 45.56 on a tick, and a weekly close below about 62.92. Those are the two invalidations. Otherwise, probably somewhere around 65 to 68 gets a bounce towards 79 to 80, and then somewhere around 100.
Sounds good. Very easy and simple, sir. Thank you. Wow. I imagine I love when people like walk by my screen and they see the HPDR on with all of our shit, and I see their faces of like, what the fuck are you even looking at? And it reminds me of me.
I'm ashamed of looking at charts in public.
It reminds me of me when you started to fucking whip out your HPDR and your momentum chat. I was like, wait. What happened to just the beautiful lines? What happened to those? Thank you. I appreciate it. All righty. Robinhood, damas y caballeros, no tiene tanta información porque no salió hace tanto tiempo al mercado, pero pueden ver esto. ¿Qué es esto? Para todos los que están aprendiendo, están viendo un patrón de tasa y agarradera. Es una de las cosas más alcistas que existen. ¿Qué es un patrón de tasa y agarradera? Un patrón de tasa y agarradera yo creo que lo podrías medir acá. Es donde yo lo pondría. Y la razón por qué es porque si vamos a tomar esto, y deberías de... No, espérame. ¿Qué pasó? Ahí está, perdón. Se me fue la pantalla. Un segundo. ¿Qué está pasando? Espérame. Ahí está. Cabrón. Perdón, un segundo. ¡No! Ok, no me está dejando hacer esto por alguna razón. En un segundo. Ahí está. No sé qué haya pasado. Me estaba cierre y cierre la ventana. No sé si pudieron ver algo ahí o no. Ok, este patrón de taza y agarradera me gustaría tomarlo acá. Y esto es obviamente subjetivo y cada quien puede hacer lo que sea. El término y la manera correcta de hacerlo sería medirlo de acá para acá. Y esto básicamente te da un objetivo. Antes de hacer esto, les voy a enseñar lo que es. Obviamente lo que estamos pintando es una taza como de café que tenga una agarraderita acá. Y acá tienes tú donde va el cafecito delicioso, ¿no? Aquí está sacando vaporcito. Estoy a punto de tomármelo, ¿no? Es más, voy a ponerle unos detalles más por acá para que no crean que... No, ese detalle me salió mal. Pero es este patrón, básicamente. Y este patrón lo puedes ver de dos formas. Lo puedes hacer acá, como te estoy poniendo todo esto, y esta es la agarradera, básicamente. Es lo que normalmente pasa. O podrías hacerlo desde acá, que es la parte más exagerada y yo no lo haría ahorita, y esto debería consolidar así también, por acá arriba. Eso quiere decir que los 85 deberían de ser una fuerte zona de donde va a haber rechazo antes de poder dar continuación, pero eso solo son probabilidades. ¿Y cómo medimos nuestros objetivos? Nuestros objetivos, vamos al punto más bajo de la tabla de precio y lo conectamos con la parte alta, con donde está la parte alta de la tasa. Ahora lo que vamos a hacer es ver dónde se rompió al alza, que fue justamente acá, y nuestro objetivo es la parte alta de la tasa. Ahí está. Así que nuestro siguiente objetivo debe ser los $87, que es bastante realista y ahorita van a ver por qué. Ahora, con eso dicho, estamos en 73.68, nada lejos de esos $83. Vamos a comenzar poniendo el HPDR para darnos una idea de dónde estamos parados. Y estamos bastante arriba en esto. Podemos ver que el 78.6% coincide con el objetivo también en los $85 y eso nos dice que muy probablemente siempre y cuando aguantemos por encima de $70 deberíamos de poder llegar fácilmente. Es más, en realidad los 50, el 50%, si podemos aguantar arriba de $66.88, deberíamos de ir a dar una buena vuelta por acá a los 86, crear este máximo, nuevo máximo histórico. ¿Es ahí? Sí, sería un nuevo máximo histórico efectivamente por encima de la línea meme y vámonos. Nada mal, nada mal. Volatilidad está literalmente expandiendo y va una vez más, lo has visto al 100%, cuando ves estas líneas rojas es el 100% de volatilidad, está expandiendo por arriba del promedio y eso es lo que estás viendo justamente acá con este velazo verde. I don't know why I brought you in. I'm sorry. This literally just did it by itself, which is incredible. But hey. Ok, ahí está esa. Vamos a la de 2
Why is
semanas.
there a cup of coffee drawn on there?
I'm explaining the pattern.
Oh,
I know it's the United States pattern, but let me start with the basics. All right, let me start with the basics.
I'm actually so retarded that it didn't even connect for me for a second that it's cup
No
and
fucking way.
I was like, why?
No fucking way. It's just a drawing class for me. Next up, I'm going to do a dinosaur.
I was like, coffee? What does coffee have to do?
What does that have to do with trading? Lots, trust me. It's fucking the gasoline I need. Ok, continuamos. Podemos ver que estamos un poco, no estamos un poco, estamos en la parte alta del HPDR, pero a esta chingadera le gusta ir al 100%. El 100% una vez más está en altos históricos, por lo que es bastante, ese sería mi próximo objetivo en esta tabla. Ese 100%. Siempre y cuando aguantemos por encima del promedio del 5, que está en los $65, que también confluyen con lo que habíamos dicho en la mensual, deberíamos de tener esa expansión y poder verlo. Además de que tienes expansión de volatilidad justamente acá, obviamente no es de las más fuertes, pero te lo está dando ante este velazo verde y el siguiente objetivo a romper van a ser los básicamente $80. Semanal, entrando en extremos, pero de nuevo, nos gusta estar en extremos en esta tabla, así que esto no es sorpresa para nadie, con volatilidad expandiendo y esta expansión viene desde acá. Vamos a ver dónde nos pone eso. Uf, no, todavía tiene camino para correr. Y de nuevo, esta cosa le gusta llegar al 100%, 100% está arriba de altos históricos, es 90, el 97% está arriba de altos históricos, en 86. Y básicamente nuestro promedio del 5 es lo que nos va a dar la pauta a no perder ese 67, 72. Los voy a llevar a la diaria. En la de harina tenemos un poco de volatilidad a la baja, en lo que estamos viendo literalmente al precio recuperar la media, y al recuperar la media nos da una gran posibilidad de ir a estos 76.37. Llegando a los 76.37, nuestro siguiente objetivo debería ser el 61.8% y ver continuación de volatilidad expander. Lo que no queremos perder son los $65. Eso nos pondría en todo esto, diríamos que va a tener más una corrección. Y si pierdes los 42 en cualquier tipo, es más, en cualquier tipo de toque a los 42, diríamos que esto está mal y que no vamos a ir a ver altos históricos. Pero por ahora, estando por encima de la media, estando por encima del promedio del 9, ahorita estamos retomando el promedio del 5 en la diaria, y además la de 4 horas es la que nos va a decir exactamente a dónde va este movimiento. La de 4 horas tiene setups literalmente de volatilidad de jamás. Lo pueden ver por acá. Aquí tuvimos el primero. ¡Pum! ¿Qué fue este? Vamos, se los va a poner. Expansión, vámonos. Y aquí viene el que sigue. Vienes de volatilidad nula. Una vez que cruce el 15% y que veamos al precio moverse en la de 4 horas, es lo que nos va a dar la pauta exactamente a dónde vamos. Somos alcistas arriba de 65. 65 sería una máxima oportunidad de entrada. Yo creo que los 69 sería tu oportunidad más realista y la mejor, porque eso ayudaría a mantener este mínimo. Además de que es literalmente un poco una trampa para el gap de abajito, que te diga, ahora sí va a cerrar el gap. No lo va a cerrar y va a dar continuación a la alza. Eso es lo que creemos. Estamos equivocados abajo de 65 en cierres diarios y sobre todo abajo de tocar los 45, $42. Olvídalo, vamos para abajo. Punto. Eso es Hood, damas y caballeros. Vamos a la que sigue. ¿Cuál era la que sigue para acordarme? Era Nvidia. All right, Alex, time to tell me if I fucked up by going back into a long in Nvidia or not.
Check this out.
Let's see.
Let me share this. That's my bad. I thought it was shared. All right, let's get rolling. Let's see what's good. So, Nvidia is actually not really of a concern. Like I said, just like a failed breakout, and that is the concern now, is that this will reject and start going down. It's going to be extremely important for bulls to get back above 143.44. Very simply. I mean, that's just daily EMA, median reclaim, meme line reclaim, and then this won't invalidate the breakout. Volatility did end up resetting on that move down. And again, all that move down, it actually didn't take out the Academy shorts. Longs. It didn't run the stop at all. Our stop loss is under 140. And just, it's like a worst case scenario. Maybe support here gets hit and we bounce up. But as long as we're still just pressing up against here, you can even see visually, you're gonna get a move soon. I mean, it can't stay like this forever. It's either gonna be a breakout or breakdown. And just like what I've been saying with all charts I've looked at, the daily is really going to be guiding you today, seeing where the median shifts, seeing if the daily 9 holds, and so forth. Weekly is still not bad though. I mean, all you can really gather on this weekly is you want the weekly 9 to move up above this wick low. And if you get a dump down to the weekly 9, that should be an opportunity zone. This isn't a breakout still on the weekly, but the bullish retest is all the way right at 129. So, and at 142, it tells me if markets do end up rolling over, I'm still not going to, discredit Nvidia. It just could mean that, well, yeah, we just have to go and test the weekly 9 actually. It's like a worst case scenario. It's not really until you start losing the weekly 9 where I start getting pretty bearish on this chart, but it's just in a range. You're at the top of the range. You're unable to take this wick high and flip in the support. Often when you go to the top and reject the top of the range, you go to the bottom. So the weekly 9 is lined up there. But remember, it's going to start on the daily. And that's why losing the daily 9 first will be key. And that has yet to really happen. Bears are really going to try here to solidify a lower high, ever so slightly lower high here. Let me check this, 145. Oh, wow. So actually, they're going to solidify a double top here.
Check
Probably
the
more
4
evident
hour.
on the 12. Let's check that now. Yeah, so like 143. Just remains the big spot on today. Below it's the daily median. You're rejecting the meme line, and you do have a risk of rolling over. But there's still hopium here. 21 just got hit. Last bottom zone was 21. You see that in both occurrences. Got to see this bounce. You really don't want to see Nvidia take this low out anymore at 141. And you're just expecting this to get back above 143.30 today. Specifically, it's 143.44. So 4 hour ties in nicely with the daily. It's very important to get back above this line, meme line, or you will be in an SFP play now. SFP, and then this will just be a bearish retest before breaking down. It's going to be very important to get back above 143.44. If you're unable to on today's close, I'm not going to be liking that too much. Now, it's not going to necessarily mean we're going to dump because we still are getting support off the daily 9, 4 hour 21. But it definitely is like the itchings of maybe a breakdown brewing. With volatility this low, you have to be more cautious. Yeah, even the 10 hours right there. Come on, anything else?
It's all identical. It's just waiting for that fucking 4 hour.
So then what you can gauge here is you can start front running this on the hourly. Potentially if the hourly starts holding back above the 9 and holding, not like this and this, and not like
Oh. What Alex meant to say is actually holding, not chopping.
actually
Wait.
holding it, bouncing off the 34.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can. I think it's just Alex. I can hear your cats. Can you hear me, Farhan?
Yep.
Yeah.
Luna wants to get out.
No, bad Luna. No. All right. I'm going to add this exactly. Hang on.
This
Wow,
this is what I hear early in the morning at my door.
That's it? Yeah.
And scratching.
That's pretty fucking cute. Ok, les voy a dar en Nvidia, damas y caballeros, porque escuché a Jensen Huang decirlo y así es como se dice, no se dice Nvidia. Soy un gran pendejo. Ok, vamos a empezar en altas temporalidades, aunque lo tengo en la de 4 horas. ¿Por qué? Su tío Salva está metido en un trade degenerado, por supuesto, después de lo que les dije esta mañana. Salimos, cerramos bien el de Tesla, cerramos bien en Nvidia ayer y ahora estamos arriba en Nvidia en esta jugada. Vamos a ver si nos dura la sonrisa o si nos va a llevar la chingada. No, porque la neta, no hay tantas cosas pasando en este planeta. Vamos a empezar sin el HPDR, no hay necesidad de ponerlo acá. Bastante sencillo, podemos ver que Nvidia no tiene un setup de volatilidad por acá, está contrayendo en realidad, en lo que habíamos hecho un máximo histórico justamente acá en octubre del 2000. Ese fue el máximo histórico, un segundo. Este es 153.13 y este ¿qué es? 152.89. No, el alto histórico es esta vela roja. Y ahora nos gustaría tener otro alto histórico. Tenemos la posibilidad de cierre más grande de toda la historia en la trimestral de Nvidia en 142. El alto más alto que había tenido en cierre fue en 134, muy parecido a lo de Bitcoin. Y venimos a retestar el promedio del 9 justamente acá en la trimestral y eso le da toda la fuerza para regresar a la parte alta del canal. Breakout para mí, en mi opinión, es salir de acá. Lo que me gusta de este patrón es que está cayendo. Esto me dice normalmente cuando veo este tipo de rupturas a la baja que va a tener un movimiento muy agresivo a la alza. Puede que lo dé con esta vela o con la que siga, pero faltan 17, 15 horas para cerrar esta. Vamos a verlo. Estamos por encima del 9, por encima del promedio del 5. Todo se ve saludable de a madre. Además, estamos en la parte del 61.8% entrando acá. Siempre y cuando podamos aguantar por encima de 137.81, deberíamos de poder ir a retestear la parte alta de esto, que está en los 214. Sería un movimiento absolutamente loco. Pero se puede dar de acuerdo a las estadísticas y probabilidades del HPDR, brother. Aquí está la clave de todo en la mensual. En la mensual, justamente este rechazo de la vela en los 145, básicamente, es lo que nos mete a la zona azul. Una vez que estemos en la zona azul, máximos históricos en 171. Lo que no queremos perder es nuestro promedio del 9, que se encuentra en los 127. Yo diría que el promedio del 5, en realidad, en los 133. 133 es donde queremos poder aguantar justamente por acá para poder dar vueltas. Ahora, estamos en un rango en el HPDR mensual, pero al mismo tiempo vean esta belleza. Nos está preparando un setup de volatilidad en la mensual de aquellos duros. Cada que tenemos un setup de volatilidad de estos duraznos, ¿qué es lo que tenemos? Movimientos de qué tamaño. Vamos a ver. Oye, brother, hay que analizarlo. Un segundo. Y la expansión terminó acá. Sí, no podemos contar la expansión más allá de este movimiento hasta acá. Básicamente aquí. Déjenme marco esto para que no se me vaya, no la chispotee como siempre, ¿no? Vamos a ver qué clase de movimiento nos dan este tipo de setups. Voy a ponerlo en la vela, la que sigue, para no mamarnos. Solamente un 327%. Nada más, no se preocupen. No me la voy a mamar porque lo voy a medir. No tengo por qué no hacer eso. Esto es un show. A fin de cuentas, es entretenimiento, brothers. No son recomendaciones de inversión. Vamos a mamarnos y aventarnos un 300% de donde estamos. ¿Ok? Era 328, pero se la voy a dejar barata a Nvidia el día de hoy. Y un 300... ¡Puta madre! Todavía no me alcanza. Un 300% simplemente nos pone en los 582. No hay manera. Tal vez sí, pero no creo. Está muy loco eso. Por ahora, Nvidia está empujando y está rompiendo esos $143. Bastante bien. Vamos a ver si nos rechaza una vez más y nos hace el baile a los 141 altos, pero por ahora se empieza a ver bien. Aquí estamos en la de 2 semanas. Podemos ver que estamos ante esta zona de breakout. Queremos romper este canal en el que está metido el precio, que ha estado metido desde mayo del 2024, básicamente un año y cacho. Eso es lo que queremos ver, esta ruptura a la alza. Aquí mismo tenemos un patroncillo como el que acabamos de analizar. Para poder romperlo a la alza tenemos que romper los 148 y eso nos daría un objetivo de ¿cuánto? Recuerden, medimos de la parte más baja hasta la parte de la vela y digamos que lo rompemos acá, ¿no? Acá, más o menos. Ok, ahí está. Eso nos llevaría y nos daría un objetivo de $208. $208, que creo que coincide con el HPDR trimestral, ¿no? Vamos a ver. HPDR. Sí, 214, 208. No está nada lejos de eso. Y en la mensual que tenemos ahí, 172. Y la parte alta de la zona azul son 206. Estamos por encima de la zona azul en la de 2 semanas, que es lo que estábamos analizando, y nuestro siguiente objetivo debería de ser los 153. Eso nos pone ya para romper justamente y dar ese movimiento agresivo. Olvídate el 61.8%, estamos hablando del 88.3%, y hemos visto que hemos llegado hasta casi el 95% acá, por lo que el 88.3% no debería estar fuera de allá, y eso está en los 204. Esos 200 tienen cara que están llamando el nombre de Nvidia, damas y caballeros. Tiene cara. Siempre y cuando podamos aguantar por encima de los 134 y no romperlos para abajo, que es donde está justamente la media y nuestro promedio del 5 acá, deberíamos estar bien. Semanal, estamos subiendo, estamos en 78.6%, siempre y cuando no caigamos de 100, una vez más, $135, deberíamos de poder aguantar esta zona. Ahora, de romper por encima de los 146, una vez más, casi 147, eso nos debería dar el siguiente movimiento a la siguiente pierna del rally para arriba. Nvidia también tiene un setup de volatilidad que está favoreciendo a la alza en este momento, que rompe desde acá después de haber venido de volatilidad nula, que también había dado esta caída y luego se volteó la volatilidad con nosotros a la alza. Acá, aquí lo pueden ver. Y eso es lo que nos tiene por acá. Vamos a la diaria. Diaria, justamente estamos por debajo de la media y del promedio del 5. Una vez que rompamos esa media en 143.42, la fiesta debería comenzar y deberíamos de poder ir a buscar estos 148. De buscar estos 148 nos pone en postura para ir para arriba y dar continuación a los números que dijimos, pero vamos a mantener un ojo también en nuestra volatilidad que no está expandiendo y está en nula actividad, básicamente. Qué mala palabra me aventé. Para ponerlo sencillo, queremos simplemente estar por encima de donde cierre la vela diaria el día de hoy y no queremos perder donde está el cuerpo en este momento en los 142, que es el promedio del 7. Pudiendo aguantar aquí, deberíamos de tener como objetivo los 148. De no poder, el 135 se volvería nuestro objetivo, como habíamos dicho, y estamos manteniendo esto. Esta sería la oportunidad máxima para un long y esto sería lo que queremos romper y esto es lo primero que queremos romper a la alza. Nvidia está bastante sencilla, honestamente, y es por lo que me gustó y me llama la atención. Ahora este es un 50-50, ¿no? Es lo que te dice básicamente el HPDR. Estando acá, queremos romper estos 143.11 y poder aguantar los 142.47. Si somos alcistas y queremos agregar, estamos en medio de esto y no tengo los huevos de hacerlo porque esta vela es bastante alta y estamos usando apalancamiento, definitivamente esperaría por ahí al toque de la diaria en el 21, si es que se llega a dar. Y si esto revienta la alza, simplemente el retesteo de la zona de breakout tiene que darse y el retesteo de la zona de breakout es más o menos por acá, obviamente. Una vez que rompas a la alza, los 144 tienen que regresar. No tienen que, el mercado no te debe nada, pero normalmente lo hace. Así que vamos a mantener un ojo bien pelado para Nvidia, damas y caballeros, y ahí lo tienen. Se ve bien, se ve bastante bien.
What's the next one again?
Dime otra vez. Say that again.
What's the next one again?
I was reading a comment. The next one would be Rivian and then Palantir.
My internet is crapping the fuck out here. It's not even loading TradingView.
Do you guys not have your little hotspots?
Yeah, I'm running the hotspot right now. I got a message saying that I'm out of high-speed data.
Let me see. Let me see your chart 1 second. No, it's pretty good. It looks good. Hang on. It's Rivian, the next one. All right, guys, figure out your internet shit and
Let me see if I can connect to the house
regular
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Wasn't
While you
working
do
last
that,
night.
and I'm gonna put myself here with Rivian. Just let me know whenever you're ready, son.
Sounds good.
Mira los Bitcoin yéndose para arriba. También la volatilidad está bajando rápidamente. ¿Quién lo fuera a imaginar con todas esas noticias tan escandalosas? Que nos da el presidente Trump. Noticias malas, la gente no le gusta. Hay otros que sí, muy importantes. Vámonos con Rivian. Como el que no. Damas y caballeros, como puta pedazo de arte, los 1332, el EMA 100 es lo que nos está aguantando y es justamente lo que tiene que aguantar. Estás viendo este gráfico en la diaria, literalmente lo único que tienes que saber, esta es tu zona de máxima oportunidad, en mi opinión. La ruptura a la baja de esta zona te va a llevar más abajo el SMA 200. ¿Por qué? Porque ya te estás cargando toda esta estructura. Entonces, para mí sería ahí lo que vas a venir a retestear serían los 11. Es muy importante no romper para abajo los 11.32, de poder aguantar los 11.32. Debería de darte el siguiente rally a los siguientes altos locales mínimo. Pero por ahora vamos a analizarlo rápido en la mensual. Vamos a ver qué más nos da esa confluencia, el promedio del 5. Me gusta muchísimo. ¿Qué tenemos en la mensual en volatilidad? Nada, pero venimos en la parte más baja de toda la historia, lo que Rivian nos va a dar el movimiento más agresivo de toda su historia. Vamos a ver qué pasó la última vez. La única vez que nos dio un setup de volatilidad en la... Nada mal, fue esta vela roja, honestamente. No, es como un poco de los dos, porque acá, en esta zona, la volatilidad cambió de dirección. Así que Rivian es un poco fucky con su volatilidad, interesante. Lo pueden ver acá. Y esa fue la que nos llevó hasta allá. Ok, ¿qué tamaño de movimiento es ese? Ah, solamente un 112%, super chill. Entonces me imagino que este movimiento va a ser estúpidamente agresivo con esta volatilidad cuando sea. Así que mantengan un ojo en la volatilidad mensual de Rivian para todos los que están interesados en este producto. Mensualmente hablando, no estamos nada cansados, estamos en el 61.8% y aguantando arriba del 50%. Siempre y cuando aguantemos por encima de los $13, básicamente 12.67, deberíamos de poder continuar a nuestro siguiente objetivo, que es ese promedio del 21, en los casi 16, bueno, en los $16. Vamos a la de 2 semanas también. 2 semanas tenemos expansión de volatilidad comenzando. ¿Y qué tenemos en esta vela? Básicamente una vela roja. Pero recuerden, no está expandiendo todavía con fuerza, apenas está comenzando. Yo no contaría esto todavía. Me gustaría ver un poco más de esta volatilidad expandir. Ahora, siguiente objetivo debería ser los 12.92, que coincide también con la mensual, me parece, en los 12.67. Ok, 2 semanas, ahí lo tienes. Eso es la zona a no perder. De perder esa zona vas a darte una vuelta ya a los 11, diría 11.94, pero no hay tantas cosas aquí deteniéndote hasta los 10, casi, casi. Y ahí podría ser el siguiente bajo más alto, pero de la grande. Semanal, ojalá y nos aguanten los 13, justamente donde estamos, es lo que queremos ver, es justamente eso. Tal cual hasta los cierre, no me gustaría ver un cierre bajo de los 13. Es donde yo pondría la línea en la arena para esto. Volatilidad está contrayendo en la semanal, no nos está diciendo nada. Diaria, volatilidad también está en la parte baja, continúa bajando, lo que nos prepara un setup de volatilidad bueno. Y ahora el EMA 100 es lo que nos está deteniendo. Si nos aguanta el EMA 100, no deberíamos de tener problema. Si no, el SMA 200 podría ser el bajo más alto, un poco agresivo, pero lo podría hacer en los 12.50. Diría personalmente, si estoy metido en este trade en largo para Rivian o quiero hacer un trade, esta es una excelente zona para agregar. Esta sería tu última zona de máxima oportunidad para agregar y cualquier cierre por debajo de 12.50, cualquiera, para abajo y lo cortaría. Por ahora, Rivian continúa haciendo lo que estaba haciendo antes, creando esa estructura alcista por primera vez en toda su historia, saliendo de esta tendencia bajista que ha tenido todo el tiempo. Ya rompimos este máximo, ya creamos mínimos más altos todo este tiempo. La cosa es simplemente aguantar. Una vez más, si Rivian llega a caer a esta zona, debería de aguantar para después dar continuación a la alza. Aquí tienes un trade bastante sencillo, que es long acá o acá e invalidarlo justamente con este mínimo. Si es que se llega a dar y depende qué tan desesperado seas, ¿no? O también si vas a agregar a tu posición, no es tanto, no perderías tanto si lo haces en spot, entrando abajo del promedio del 100 y buscando más o menos este 200 y cortándolo por debajo de esta vela en los 12.52. Por debajo de 12.52, digamos que estamos cocinados y va a ir a buscar mínimo los 11 o tal vez más para abajo. Así que pongamos atención acá en Rivian, damas y caballeros. All right, Alex, I see you back. Let's do another one because Rivian's pretty easy. Palantir.
Let's see it.
Palantir.
Yeah, I finally fixed the house Wi-Fi.
Nice.
Yeah. I was summarizing Nvidia by just saying if the hourly 9 gets reclaimed, you can start using that as like your basis for your trades.
Yes. Yes.
It. Let's look at some Palantir. This is a fun stock. Get our ranges out. Go to the weekly here. I haven't looked at this in a minute because I don't have meme lines. Gotta have meme lines.
Gotta have them.
Yeah, so you're basically just this is a very bullish chart. I mean, you're just SR flipping the last major wick high rejection into support, solid support here before busting up. You have a breakout on the weekly. Volatility is slightly concerning in the sense that you're not really reset on volatility. You're still kind of at the extreme highs. Easily can go up to the 90-95%, obviously, but you are up there, and you've never seen this at 100% volatility. It's only ever reached 97, so it is relatively high. But it's still above the moving average, and this easily can start moving back up, specifically when the weekly looks like this. I mean, super bullish and aggressive bulls will be using this now as a new flip of support at 133, looking for a slingshot move up to 153 essentially. So if 133 holds, you'll get a move up to 153. Monthly also kind of ties that in. Monthly is actually in a breakout. You back tested the 38.2%, similar to the meme line actually. That was right around 121. So the meme line was right around 119. Again, just bullish, reclaimed support, held it, back tested it. Now you're just good to break out. This is looking like it wants to go to 152, which kind of lines up with the weekly view. Notice that volatility here is resetting, which is bullish. I mean, let's see the last occurrence when this started to reset. Okay, so we hit extremes, we started to reset, and what you're noticing is when you started to reset on volatility here, it's when bulls started to put structure in, and then you started to break out. Now, this has never had a volatility setup. It's only ever gone to 34%. But when you start seeing a chart like this in a monthly breakout with volatility at extremes, granted, but with it starting to reset and this breaking out, it's starting to tell me that the counter move now with volatility resetting could mean up, which is exactly what bulls would want. Because the risk here was that volatility was at extremes. You know, you just made another double derp of volatility. Generally, that does lead to a rollover in volatility, a reset. And then that's when price can reset and start going down. But that did not occur. And so now this just overall held the breakout. Curious to see what this chart looks like on a 6 month. Yeah, it's very bullish. I mean, wow, that's crazy. And actually the 6 months pretty significant. 3 months and 6 months are about to reclaim support at 125. That's big. I mean, this is strong. There's really no way to look at it. Even the weekly here, let's see. So okay, it tells you weekly 2-week EMA 9 should be the extremity. That's kind of like the opportunity zone, at least what I can tell. If you did make a move down, you have the higher high. Just want to come back down, higher low around here, right around the 2-week EMA 9, which would be just a throwback to the 38.2%. But even the 2-week view, I mean, you see here, you break these wick highs and consolidate. Remember, aggressive bulls will be using this. 2-week kind of lines up nicely. You flip this 133 into support, you will move up to like 160. So again, that's good confluence to that weekly view, which was around 153 being the next target. And then even the monthly view, which is 152 being the next target. So no matter how you look at it, it just seems like as long as Palantir is holding above 133, 152 should come into play. So the daily 9 was able to meet where the meme line is. Median shifted down, was a nice spring. So now you're just simply watching 133. As long as you keep holding and you're above that, this should keep going up. Now you'll know this is bearish if you start losing the daily 9. Daily 9 would mean you're back within this range. Under 133 opens up the door to go back down to like 125 minimum, possibly all the way to 123. It's very simple. I mean, you set a range here, respected the range. Now you just kind of want this. As bullish as it could get. So GG bulls. 4 hour had a nice move up, broke out, threw it back, spring. That's just like definition of a spring. It's like the stair steps down, elevator up. It's like the opposite. And then, yeah, I mean, so it just seems to me like once you really do break 140 on the lower time frames, this could start moving up to 152. Watch 133 though. This is big because you're having a lot of higher time frame closures incoming. That's very primed for retests. A lot of people will long this on a Friday, want 153, and then forget, well, wait, the weekly just reclaimed massive resistance into support. You need that move down now. And even if the weekly is going to be in a breakout, you'd be gauging at least a move down to the 38.2%. That very well could shift down to 133. 133 into next week's the spot for Palantir. Above it opens up 152 to 153. Under it opens up all the way down to like 122. Maybe an extremity low at that 2-week 9, which should hold. I'll keep saying that. The 2-week 9 should continue to hold. If we just view Palantir's chart,
It's
in
ridiculous.
confluence, yeah, to the 2-week 9, there's no need to overcomplicate things. You either hold the 2-week 9 or bottom on the 21. Hold the 2-week 9, bottom on the 21. Like, it's very simple to me. Hold the 2-week 9 or bottom at the 21. So like, that's a very bullish chart. Notice how the 34 has never even been tapped yet. That's because of strength. And that plays into what I was saying on Bitcoin. You know, whenever you get a chart where it's just at the 34, like on the daily on Bitcoin, that's pretty weak. You need that to hold. So Palantir on the flip side, on the 2-week, the EMA9 is going to be the zone, and that's already up above meme line support here, pressing above 100. It's now at 112. In the next, month, this could easily be around 118. So I'd be watching that very carefully if you're trying to position on Palantir. We don't position up here, obviously. You can lower time frame trade it, but if you're really trying to position, you'd be doing it on the 2-week 9 or on the 21 for the extremity opportunity. But yeah, I mean, this is just in breakout. You're watching for the weekly to test 133, hold and move up to 152. Wrong on this if the daily 9 starts getting lost, because you'll know that that's right back within the range. You're right where these wick highs were, and that easily could take you around 120 to 122. So that's all I have on Palantir. Very bullish chart. And daily volatility is in expansion. So it's not really dumb to be calling for 153 as long as 133 holds, specifically when daily volatility is very freshly expanding. So
yeah, that's pretty damn good. Thank you very much, senor. I appreciate you.
Sure.
Look at me just analyzing the charts and just copying everything you're about to say. Well, you just said, and I'm about to say. Ok, ahí les va Palantir. Güey, qué tabla, ¿no? Es justamente lo que estamos hablando hace un rato para los que no llegaron con nuestro ejemplo de la taza de café. Es este tipo de tablas. Y pueden ver, esto absolutamente rompió el objetivo que tenía. Normalmente pasa así. Un segundo. Vean esto. Una vez que rompió a la alza, solamente vean, nos quedó a la mitad del movimiento y de ahí se dio otra pata para arriba. Ahora sí que esa es difícil de medir, no hay cómo, no fue totalmente especulación. Este es un punto muy importante para la tabla en los $66. Si algún día Palantir llega a los $66, voy a acumular todo para invertir en la empresa que va a acabar con toda la información de absolutamente todos nosotros, que ya la tiene, por cierto, pero muy divertida. Qué rally se ha aventado, pero lo mejor de todo es que por más que antes había estado en extremos en el 100%, en este momento solamente estamos rompiendo el 50% y nuestro siguiente objetivo debería ser los 152, damas y caballeros. 152 en Palantir. El máximo histórico es justamente esta vela en los 140, así que 151 sería un máximo histórico, aún más histórico, otro máximo histórico. Importante ver, volatilidad continúa en extremos. Creo que esta es una de esas tablas que tiene extremos, sí. De extremo a extremo, volatilidad nunca ha bajado de 33%. Ha sido la lectura de volatilidad más baja que hemos visto. Perdiendo el nivel de los 136, probablemente vayamos a ir a buscar estos $120. Vamos a ver la de 2 semanas. 2 semanas estamos una vez más ganando por encima del 61.8%. Nuestro siguiente objetivo debería ser 169.70. ¡Nice! Y cualquier cosa por debajo de 131, 132 nos debería de dar una oportunidad de tomarlo en 123. El peor escenario, no, en realidad 110. Pero por la diferencia de precios en esto, yo pensaría que el promedio del 5 debería de aguantar apenas si lo toca. Lo interesante, algo que dijo Alex, que tiene toda la razón del mundo, y déjenme quito mi promedio del 5 para olvidarlo, es este. Vean, Palantir lo que le gusta hacer es siempre respetar el promedio del 9. El 9 es el azul. Cuando te caes, el 21 siempre aguanta. Nunca ha tocado el 34 en la de 2 semanas. Tus oportunidades más grandes son esas. Si viene de vuelta a tocar el promedio del 9 en los 107, definitivamente quieres agregar. Si llega a tocar el promedio del 21, ya sabes que esa es una oportunidad de oro. Nunca ha tocado el 34, pero si lo llegara a tocar, ¿no? En este uptrend, básicamente. Y esto desde que retomó el 34, en realidad, en mayo del 2023, no lo ha vuelto a tocar. Y esa fue la zona que rompió a la alza. Literalmente el 34. Eso quiere decir que cuando llegue una vez más al 34, ese va a ser tu punto más extremo para poder entrar a Palantir. Recuerda que todo esto va a estar cambiando y va a estar moviéndose para arriba de acuerdo y con el precio y con el tiempo. Así que por ahora muy alcista justamente en la tabla de 2 semanas y ahí está nuestro objetivo que sigue en los 269. Semanal, estamos rompiendo justo la parte alta de la zona azul. Ahora vamos a ir a buscar esta zona en los 142.56 y de ahí tranquilamente deberíamos poder ir a los 152, el 61.8%. Aquí lo interesante es dónde está nuestro promedio del 9 y nuestra media en los 119 y 122. Esa parece ser la zona de más grande oportunidad para Palantir, para cualquier persona a entrar en este momento. De no aguantar, deberías de poder agregar en el 21, que está en los $100, pero personalmente yo no creo que esto vaya a llegar. Tal vez ni esta tampoco, pero esa sería la zona para agregar. No vayas a agregar justamente acá en un tope, por el amor de Dios. No seas yo comprando Bitcoin en $80,000 en el 2021. Yo sé que no subió tanto, pero si todo el mundo lo dice, tiene que ser verdad. Vámonos a la diaria. La de harina tiene volatilidad expandiendo. Me parece, en un segundo, déjame borro mis estúpidos puntitos. Ahí están. Tenemos volatilidad expandiendo, efectivamente, donde está el 15%, justamente acá. Vamos a poner una línea meme. Podemos ver que la volatilidad está expandiendo junto con el precio a la alza. Eso nos dice que debería de haber continuación. Siguiente objetivo sería la parte alta de la zona azul. ¿Qué no queremos perder acá? Si pierdes los 138 para abajo, muy probablemente te dé la oportunidad de agregar en la media, que está en 131, junto con tu promedio del 9, que en la semana están muy abajo. Sí, yo tomaría los de la diaria, más bien. Y el peor escenario sería exactamente la parte baja de la zona azul, en los 125. Se ve muy alcista esta cosa. Lo único que tiene que hacer es llevarse este máximo por acá. Este máximo, una vez más, estaba en los 140 planos. Una vez que te lleves los 140 en Palantir, aire limpio, básicamente, a irte por ahí de los 150, 169. Trae mucha fuerza. Todo esto sería invalidado perdiendo los 122 para abajo. Pierdes los 122, vámonos a completamente la mierda, damas y caballeros. Así que ahí lo tienen. En lo de Palantir. Denme un segundo. Vamos a ver qué sigue. Can you do Tesla, señor? Please.
Yeah, definitely.
Plum, 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 plus, plus, plus.
There we go. Oh, I really am not enjoying the process of moving. Really
Oh yeah, it's a nightmare.
It's really not fun. I'm just gonna say that. Okay, we'll do Tesla. So Tesla to me is let's go to the 4 hour because we had a 4 hour setup. Not the 5 hour, the 4 hour. Okay, it's cool. So we lost the EMA 34. And so this has invalidated the trade that we had. You could have front ran the stop loss here because we haven't hit the stop loss yet, but it is brewing. So now, bulls absolutely need this 4 hour EMA 100 to hold. That was kind of the hopium for the stop loss. If you didn't front run it, is that, using this wick low would move the EMA 100 up. And then if we did dump down, this should be support, or at least the last kind of area. So now what we have is a rally up. We're at the EMA 9. So this is resistance technically. Tesla is at resistance at 320, and you're going to need to watch this zone carefully in the lower time frames because you're either going to pop up, hit the 34 and reject, giving you that bearish retest of the 34. You reclaimed it, you lost it. You would be gauging kind of a retest here or a reclaim, and you're actually going to get back above the 4 hour 9, and that can at least start giving bulls some hopium. Because on the daily, if you start looking, it's not really looking the best. You have a top candle here. You have a massive deviation, SFP of support, rejection of the 21 and the 9. What is this brewing? Well, this is brewing potentially a tap at the daily SMA 200, EMA 100. This is the opportunity zone, in my opinion. Now, aggressive bulls are going to be saying, well, we're front running that now. I'm not really convinced until at minimum that 4-hour 9 gets reclaimed, and then that should lead into the daily 9 getting reclaimed. But until then, we wanted the breakout on Tesla. It didn't occur. And so now we're back under the 9. And so you need to be watching on the daily. This is the spot where you're either going to kind of hold the 34, move up, reclaim the daily 9, and start grinding back above 330. Or yeah, this will just like roll over from here, and then you'll test SMA 200. This should be the last spot where bulls are going to pick up. Because if you lose the daily SMA 200, this is going to put Tesla in a very bad posturing. Anytime you're under the SMA 200, it just generally leads to downside move. So if you start losing this, the hopium is that, yeah, 300 psychological number holds, but with what we know how important the zone is, it's really then brewing a potential breakdown to 262. Now, again, if we do hold the daily SMA 200, that'll be a very bullish scenario. It'll actually look quite nice on the weekly too, because if you reclaim the weekly 9, where is the weekly 921 all sitting around? Well, that 306 to 307 mark, and that is right around where the SMA 200 is. So again, you have two different time frames and two different EMAs showing you that, yeah, this 306 to 307 zone should hold. It's not really until you start losing the daily SMA 200, weekly 9, where then Tesla's a concern. Very well could just do something like this. You lost support, you busted up, you reclaimed it, you got the weekly close, potentially, it's in 3 hours. And then now you're just going to retest next week and expand. And all that will do is just be a daily SMA 200 retest, filling the Academy's longs at this spot here. But remember, if we start losing this, then I won't want a long Tesla. It's a no long zone anymore for me. And the idea is that if we did end up retesting the SMA 200, you'd get a move like this, where once you broke out, you did end up throwing it back and testing it, broke out from this breakout. Tesla went up 13%, and then it came all the way back down from this point and tested it, giving you that SMA 200 spring before bottoming. So that's kind of the idea. It's not diminished yet, the long idea on the daily. The 4-hour isn't validated for me. So it's like you're either just hoping that it's going to bottom from here and not take out your stop loss at 310. But for me, it just seems very likely now that the daily does want to get a daily at least does want to test the SMA 200. And that would be just the bullish setup. That's what happens when you reclaim something as big as this. You should be gauging that throwback as an opportunity, leading to a weekly 9 retest. So I'm not really concerned. Funky. Yeah, I'm not really concerned. We didn't get the lower time frame breakout. That's perfectly fine. Even let me see here. When is the 10-day closing? So you're still above the 10-day EMA 9. I mean, you even see here around the 10-day 21 is right around 305. So it just seems to me like Tesla, if it doesn't get back above the daily 9, you're going to test the SMA 200. And then that should hold, ideally. It's very simple. Whenever you get the SMA 200, it just makes an easy trade. Either holds and you can long it, or you're going to lose it, SFP it, and then it can make shorts more confident. So until then, I'm going to be on the camp that now that we've lost the daily 9, you're watching the 4-hour 9. If that starts rejecting, implications for maybe Monday, Tuesday, a move down to like 306, 307, this should be the bottoming zone. And we'll just be correlating it to exactly what happened here. So that's it. You don't want to be the person getting extremely bearish when you should be gauging the throwback. If you were gauging, okay, we lost it, we reclaimed it, we never tested it. If you're going into this idea, you would have made a lot of money rather than, okay, let me max short the breakdown, let me front run it, bottomed here, held the EMA 100, expanded up. So we don't want to like get too bearish. And we did say if we start rejecting, in this region, which could happen, that a lot will start getting bearish if we get that 6% move, 7% move down to here. I'm still gauging this as an opportunity zone until proven otherwise. So now the daily HPDR is interesting because you are in a breakdown. You are now you're still under the median. You're rejecting the 38.2%, which is lining up nicely with the daily 9. Again, just more of a reason why in this zone here, with the lower time frames like the 4-hour, not above the 9, yeah, there's just more of a chance of this testing down lower. So you easily can then go up to 78.6% at 301. But no matter how you look at it, it seems like Tesla wants lower as long as it's under 330. So 330 is a big spot for Tesla. You kind of need that to start breaking and holding. As long as you are under that and under the daily EMA 9, you're going to have that move down to the SMA 200. That should be the bullish retest. If that doesn't hold and you get any daily closures under this zone, yeah, I don't know then what's going to happen, and we will have a risk of testing these lows here. So still bullish though, and it's still valid, and it's still very to the book until it's not. So we will see.
Absolutely fucky as fuck, but it's part of what Tesla does. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice knowing that, at least. Thank you, senor. We're going to do Roblox and then Constellation Brands.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to try to reset the Wi-Fi again one more time.
Do it up, son. I'll bring forehand up. Boom.
I'm connected.
Boom.
You're
connected, senor. Good for your Wi-Fi. Hey, it's good to see the Wi-Fi. Salo, un comentario nada más para ustedes tres, compañeros de Elite Trading Academy. No para el video. Sus palabras de ayer las pusimos en práctica ayer mismo cuando estábamos en long en Bitcoin y se fue abajo. Recordé lo que dijiste, que el SP500 sigue a Bitcoin. Cerré el long de ES1 que teníamos con ganancia. Esperé que ES1 llegara al fondo. 59.29, abrí un long. Bien. De eso se trata todo, Ramón. Justamente. Es echarle coco a todo esto. Yo vi lo mismo justamente ayer con lo de Nvidia. No puedo creer ese trade en el que estoy ahorita. Y ahora estoy arriba otra vez. O sea, han sido 3. Ahora no voy a echarme nada de cumplidos porque obviamente se va a voltear y me va a mandar a la chingada ahorita el precio. Pero bien, me da gusto. Y ahorita le damos. Lo que quiero hacer siempre es, si me mandas 2, intentar darle a todo el mundo la oportunidad de poner su acción y ya después regresamos. Así que vamos con Roblox ahorita. Pero antes le voy a dar a todo el mundo Tesla. Tesla, damas y caballeros, güey, buena acción esta de Tesla. Oye, está divertida, brother. Vamos a empezar con la trimestral porque Tesla sí tiene suficientes datos, lo sabemos perfectamente, lo podemos ver por acá, se ve, se siente. Elon Musk está presente con un poco de, ¿cómo se dice? Ketamina, no sé cómo se dice en español. Ok, tenemos volatilidad básicamente haciendo nada. Tenemos el cierre más alto de Tesla en la historia en 403 y el máximo más alto en 488.58. En este momento estamos cotizando en 319.87. Estamos justamente en este rango. Rango importante porque una vez que rompes los 333 a la alza, tienes una gran probabilidad de ir a buscar estos altos históricos. Por ahora estamos por debajo, pero estamos por encima del promedio del 9, encima del promedio del 21 y el 34 que continúa siguiendo nuestra línea meme en diagonal. Lo que me dice que definitivamente espero que venga a tocarlo a cierto punto, pero ya va subiendo demasiado junto con el tiempo, así que esto se vuelve una posibilidad menor y menor cada vez. Con eso dicho, vamos a ver el HPDR, vamos a ver dónde estamos parados. Vale. Básicamente estamos en la zona azul. ¿Qué es lo que necesitamos? Poder llegar a los 3.55 y romper estos 3.55. ¿Tenemos cuánto tiempo para cerrar esta vela? Tenemos 17 días y 4 horas para ir a esos 3.55 y vencerlos. Tener un cierre por encima, ir a buscar altos históricos, básicamente sería la fórmula para voltear a ver esto. Vámonos a la mensual, ¿cómo de que no? La mensual, y déjenme le pongo una estrellita a la mensual, ya me di cuenta de eso. 1 week, no, aquí está. Y también la de 3 meses, no sé por qué no voy a poner la de, también me gusta la de 1 hora, no voy a engañar a nadie. 4 horas, 6 horas, perdón, solamente estableciendo mis rangos, brother. Ok, en este momento estamos justamente en el 50%, venimos y rebotamos en el 21, el 21 estaba en los 277 y fue justamente donde encontramos ese fondo en esta nueva vela. Bueno, lo que acabamos de ver hace poco en la caída de Tesla después de que se peleó con Elon Musk, definitivamente es verdad. Y podemos ver que la volatilidad está contrayéndose, no tenemos absolutamente nada acá, más que decir tal vez fue un movimiento correctivo después de subidongo. Nuestro objetivo aquí a vencer, si eres alcista en Tesla, es este promedio del 9, no lo quieres perder, en los 322.65. Tienes 17 días y 4 horas para retomarlo. Una vez que lo hagas, siguiente objetivo serían esta línea verde meme, 333, ya lo saben. Y una vez que entremos ahí, vamos a ir a buscar esos 394. Estamos mal y estamos equivocados si perdemos el 277 en el promedio del 21, que es bastante abajo. Aquí hay un trade, no en la mensual, aunque en la mensual las oportunidades grandes, cuando usas poco apalancamiento o nada, está cada que tocas el promedio del 9 o el 21, definitivamente, o hasta el 34 y 55. Estos promedios grandes en mensuales te dan retornos bastante potentes, así que atentos ahí. 2 semanas, estamos por encima de, nice, entrando en la zona azul, podemos ver que también volatilidad ha estado contrayendo ya por un rato, básicamente todo el 2025, y venimos a topar justamente la línea verde, meme, nos venimos a recargar en el promedio del 9, el 34, despegamos a la alza y lo que queremos romper ahora para dar continuación son los $325. Una vez que rompamos los 325 nos ponen en la zona para ir a buscar 350 y eso básicamente es aire limpio a la media que nos debería llevar más o menos por ahí de los 380 y tantos, $390. Acá, sencillo, pierdes los 262 y sería un gran aviso de que vas a ir a buscar este promedio del 100 en los 238. O la parte baja de la zona azul en los 233. Y de dar continuación, vienes a esta línea meme una vez más a los 214, pero si llegas a venir a los 214, vas definitivamente a los 100 y cacho, que es lo que a fin de cuentas a mí me encantaría ver. Personalmente, no estoy diciendo que va a pasar, pero me encantaría ver. En la semanal, estamos justamente rebotando en el 55, superando el 21, el 34. ¿Dónde está nuestro promedio del 9? Aquí abajo también, en los 306. Bien, ahora, ¿qué queremos romper? 326 a la alza. Una vez que lo logremos, deberíamos de ir a buscar estos 357, que de nuevo se vuelve aire limpio, para ir a buscar la parte alta de esta zona por acá en los $390. Nada mal. Volatilidad parece que estaba expandiendo, pero en realidad no lo consideraría. Simplemente está haciendo esto, una vela topera, que es una vela topera para mis amigos que estén empezando a ver esto. Una vela topera es una vela que el cuerpo constituye más o menos o menos de 25% de la vela, está en la parte baja del 25% de la parte baja de la vela y todo lo demás es delgadito, que no es el cuerpo de la vela. Esto es una vela topera. Tienes confirmación justamente con esta. Vas a tener continuación. Podrías, que lo cancela cualquier cierre por encima de esta vela en los 300, ¿cuál es el cierre? 367.71, 368 para arriba, cancela esta vela topera y te dice que hay aire limpio. Por ahora, Tesla está haciendo un retesteo de zonas importantes y pueden ver el por qué. Tenemos el EMA 100 justamente en los 269. La última vez que rompimos a la alza fue justamente el 100 o hasta el 200. Y aquí es donde se pone interesante la cosa. Vamos a la diaria, porque la diaria es un poco de eso exactamente, en donde habíamos tenido la explosión una vez que rompimos el 200 y el 100, y el 200 y el 100 está en 307. Si entramos en long acá, nuestra invalidación debió ser 311, pero la cosa es, esto tiene cara que va a ser retesteado, y si fuera retesteado y aguantado, yo no tendría miedo de holdear esto e irnos. Yo creo que cualquier cierre por debajo de estos dos, yo creo que 2 o 3 cierres en temporalidad diaria debajo de estos dos, bye, y si bajo de los 2.99, adiós. Por ahora, Tesla continúa siendo alcista. Lo que queremos ver es simplemente romper 325 a la alza para dar continuación para arriba. Y queremos que esta zona aguante. La teoría del long y de ser alcistas en Tesla continúa. Solamente nos queda este retesteo en esta zona, el promedio del 100 y el 200 en los 307. Si podemos aguantar esto, ya chingamos. Si no, tal vez nos vayamos a llevar estos mínimos e ir una vez más a la zona donde entraron los suertudos por acá abajo en los 217, 215, 214. Por ahora Tesla tiene todavía cara de que tiene fuerza. La diaria nos está mandando a la parte baja de la zona, de la zona azul y pueden ver que el 61.8% está en esos 310, 311 y abajito de eso tienes los 307. Lo que me hace pensar viendo el 78.6% es que tal vez venga a joder a la línea de los 300 y de ahí también rebote. Sería un bajo sucio más alto que estos y sería válido para continuar con la tendencia alcista. Por ahora, lo único que tienes que esperar es que Tesla pueda romper los 325 a la alza. Eso te debería poner en postura de ir a romper esta línea meme, resistencia en 333, que también es la media de la zona azul, justamente acá, y eso te debería de llevar Al contrario, aquí arriba en los 370. Ahí lo tienen, damas y caballeros, bastante fácil. Did I tell you which one's next, sir?
I don't believe so.
You did, but I don't remember.
Perfect. 1 second. Let me see. Roblox. And then Constellation Brands.
I'll do Roblox. Robert Lux.
Robert Lux. R as in
Robert Lux. R as in rich as in Robert Lux.
That's as in oh my god, it's Robert Lux. B as in boy, that's Robert Lux, and he looks great.
Wow. This thing's got a godly United States setup right here.
There you go. That's the $100 that were promised. Here they are.
The promised land.
Here
It's
we
sitting
are.
at 100% on both momentum and volatility. Pretty crazy. And we're well above the 100% range on the HPDR. We're tapping the 100% range on the monthly on the HPDR now at that $100 level that we've been looking at for the past couple of weeks, sitting at 100% on the monthly momentum and volatility also. 2 week is right at that 95 to 97.5% range. We're sitting at 98% on volatility and momentum. Very, very likely where we are nearing the local top, if not there already. Weekly has already started flipping down on momentum and volatility. We are sitting at the 88.3% to the 90% range on the HPDR. We have the jewel just about to give us a very nice buy signal with the pink crossing above the yellow, but it has not quite confirmed just yet, and probably we'll get some type of consolidation before that does confirm. 5 days, well, just like the weekly is flipping to the downside on momentum and volatility, and the 5 days coming a lot closer to giving us that jewel signal where the lines are not touching tips. Probably one more closure, and these are going to confirm across. 2 days, currently still flipped to the upside with volatility still expanding. We got a God mode background, but we have not gotten the sell signal just yet, still on a buy signal. 2 days getting less extreme areas now. If you can get over the 78.6 at $98, you should see a movement to somewhere around $103 to $110. Daily is currently flipped to the downside. It will flip back up if you can get a daily close, and it is 38.2% at $96.34. And then at that point, you're probably going to go up to the 88.3%. Which right now sits at about $106. 4 hours as well as getting right at that 38.2%, with 4 hours flipping once again back to the upside, putting in hidden bullish divergence and getting volatility expansion, and the jewel losing the sell signal, flipping into a neutral. We can close over this 38.2% at $96.92. Should see a nice movement to that 88.3% at that same $106 level. Now let's check the other side. I can only imagine the size of Robert Lux's bank account.
Oh my god. And by the way, it took him a long time, dude. That shit fucking consolidated forever.
Weekly, they got 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence. Very nice. And it's going to be active as long as you're closing above $51.27. Wow. No, actually, no, my bad. I missed this one. It's $68.55. Even that's pretty far back.
Yeah.
And you've already hit the critical zone, so you're already at the easy target. Let's just change the settings a little bit. Change it to 85. Let's see what the next target will give us. About $108. Just change the settings and you'll find a nicer number that you'll enjoy more. 5 days well has got 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence. It's going to be active as long as you're closing over 5 days. A little bit more difficult to invalidate. $50.28. Come on. Dailies invalidated the bearish divergence. And 4 hours now putting in a fresh drive of hidden bullish divergence. And it will confirm with a close over $95.75. And that will give you an easy target of hitting the critical zone and the simple moving average, which lines up currently at about $103.65. Basically the exact same number for the simple moving average and the critical zone. Now we'll go into momentum chart. Monthly momentum is freshly flipped to the upside, putting in hidden bullish divergence and volatility expansion, and it's pointed up above $94.65. 2 week is also pointed to the upside with volatility expansion, and it's pointed up above $75.68. Weekly as well is pointed to the upside above $92.30. 5 days pointed up above $94.78. 2 days currently pointed up above $97.54. We are currently below that number, so 2 day will flip down in about 3.5 hours if we close below $97.54. Bulls got 3.5 hours to push it up 80 cents. Daily is currently also flipped up, but will flip down in 3.5 hours below 97.88. And 4 hours currently freshly flipped to the upside with the volatility setup sitting at 7% on volatility, and you're flipped up above 96.16. Makes it more likely that if the 4 hour does start expanding on volatility, that we can flip that daily, remain the daily and the 2 day to the upside. Scroll up a little bit. The high time frames on Roblox are insanely bullish. We have beautiful United States pattern, and the monthly would give you targets of hitting somewhere around $120 to $130. You have hidden bullish divergences on basically all of your time frames, which have already been confirmed. Basically, every single time frame is currently flipped to the upside. The daily and the 2 day are in danger of flipping down, but the 4 hour is now freshly flipped up with a volatility setup sitting at 7%. So if that 4 hour volatility setup does fire off for the end of the day, then it's very likely the daily and the 2 day will remain to the upside, and you're going to continue on to hitting somewhere around $107 to $108 before probably some consolidation in that area, considering you're going to be at very extreme areas on the HPDR. And then probably you're going to continue upwards into testing somewhere around $120 to $130. The invalidation of all of this is getting any tick below about $50 or any weekly close below about $68.55. But I'm not leaning towards that happening. I'm more leaning towards somewhere around 108, some consolidation and pullback, and then 120s.
Make the sense. Thank you, sir. That is beautiful. All right, here we go. Oh, Bitcoin. He said $106,000. But guys, the war. Ooh, it's going to continue for 2 weeks. Ooh, watch out. If they didn't tell you on TV, you would have never noticed. Ooh.
But didn't you know the United States could get dragged into this war?
Yeah,
oh my
absolutely.
God, it's so bearish.
Absolutely.
If the United States gets dragged into the war, we're probably going to see an even bigger pumpzilla.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? They like all of our old senators and congressmen would be fucking. They would have a boner so hard that
Lindsey
Cialis
Graham
would go
would
out
be
of
creaming his
business.
pants.
Oh my God! Everywhere. You would see old people just like creaming themselves on the street if the United States were able
Lindsey
to go to
Graham
war.
has passed away from an erection lasting 76 weeks.
He just hurtled to death caused by the war in the United States, and he just couldn't hold it anymore. Damn. God fucking damn. This is great. Thank you, sir. Alex, this is one that you've never done before. So here you go. STZ.
Is that like Stizzy, the company that makes the
No, this is Constellation. No, this is Constellation Brands, Corona.
No, you're right. I've never looked at this.
I would have preferred
I don't have
Stizzy.
no meme lines on this chart. It's a naked chart.
it's naked, then we're not gonna be able to put it.
We gotta cover the eyes of the
screen.
children.
We gotta. Okay. Sorry, just checking my Nvidia trade. Please don't fuck me. Please don't fuck me.
Don't fuck
I
me,
only tell you
Tony.
this one time. No, don't fuck me, Tony.
Exactly. That's
Proceeds to tell him twice.
oh, exactly, motherfucker. Vale, estamos empezando Roblox, damas y caballeros. Esto es una tabla alcista y no va más. ¿Se acuerdan cuando salió Roblox 2021? Tuvo este súper pompazo y el alto histórico está en $141. Desde entonces tuvimos esta caída, llegó a los 20, que fue 21.65. Gran oportunidad de acumular toda esta zona. Muy poca gente lo hizo, pero los que lo hicimos, felicidades. Una excelente compra. Y de nuevo, esta cosa no tiene competencia. No lo tiene. Ahora, ¿quieres entrar acá? Eso es bajo tu propio riesgo. Pero esta cosa no tiene competencia en el mundo digital. Le pregunté al buen Willy, me lo confirmó y le dije, si algo sale, me tienes que decir, cabrón. Espero que todavía no haya salido y no se le haya olvidado. Así. Le voy a tener que recordar. Le voy a tener que preguntar más bien. Por ahora, ¿qué es lo que estamos viendo acá? ¿Se acuerdan el patrón de la taza? Parece esta como la taza al revés, ¿no? Pero esto igual es el patrón de la taza. ¿Y qué quiere decir esto? ¿Cómo vamos a medir para los que ya están reconociendo este patrón? ¿Cómo vamos a medir el movimiento explosivo a la alza? Sencillo. Vamos a ir a la parte más baja del precio. Vamos a unirlo. Espérame, lo que hice fue pintar con mi estúpida cosa esta. Voy a hacer una línea de tendencia hermosa, brother, hasta la parte alta donde está el agua o el café en la taza y vamos a decir que lo rompemos ahí. ¿Cuál sería nuestro objetivo de este movimiento? $176. Escríbanlo porque definitivamente va a ir para allá. ¿Cuánto tiempo va a tomar? Esa es la cosa que no sabemos, pero definitivamente va a llegar por ahí, sobre todo teniendo en cuenta que el máximo histórico son 140 y en realidad ahí podrías contar más, pero no lo vamos a hacer. Vamos a empezar acá, donde tenemos nuestro promedio del 9 muy abajo. Fue la oportunidad de oro, justamente el retesteo. Es lo que siempre les digo. Una vez que rompes, explotas a la alza, vienes a retestear donde rompiste y eso es clave para nosotros en nuestro sistema porque la paciencia siempre paga. Y aquí pagó potentemente de $49 a $96, básicamente el doble en una sola vela trimestral. Vámonos a la mensual, donde ya podríamos empezar a ver, no voy a poner el HPDR en la mensual porque también hay muy pocos datos. Bueno, vamos a ver cómo se vería. Exacto, estamos en el 100%. Lo que nos dice que tenemos que consolidar un poco por acá. ¿Lo tiene que hacer? No, Palantir no lo hizo tanto, simplemente explotó. ¿Dónde están las oportunidades de oro? Cualquier toque del promedio del 9. Yo creo que ese te va a costar trabajo, vamos a hacer el 5. Por ahí de los $80 es donde está la oportunidad. Si llegas a ver ese número ser tocado, vientos. Si ves el 67 ser tocado, vientos. Lo que no quieres ver definitivamente es debajo de 67. Esta línea meme debería de aguantar todo. Podrías ver un huicazo para abajo, pero no te gustaría. En realidad, esta es la zona a poder dominar. Y ahora, un huicazo abajo de $50, todo lo que te estoy diciendo es equivocado, porque ahorita nosotros somos alcista en esto, estamos viendo y continúa expandiendo esta volatilidad que parecía que ya se estaba apagando y nos está llevando a estos máximos históricos y todavía han visto que Roblox le gusta estar en extremos, no tiene por qué no hacer lo mismo acá, así que no nos está diciendo que esto se va a parar en cualquier momento. Vamos a la de 2 semanas. 2 semanas y también vamos a poner el HPDR a ver cómo se vería acá, ya muy cerca también de ese 100%. Ese 100% está en los $103, 97% está en 101. Lo que me dice, y fue lo que les prometí, no, casi, no les prometí, pero les dije, muy probablemente los 100 están prometidos porque cuando está cerca de un número tan redondo y tan importante en cualquier precio, lo va a ir a tocar. Además de eso, tienes volatilidad expandiendo, lo puedes ver acá por encima del promedio y esa expansión nos ha dado pum, dildos absolutamente verdes, de extraterrestres, dildos de extraterrestres. La oportunidad grande sería un retesteo del promedio del 5 que se encuentra en el 88.3%, esta consolidación que debería de aguantar mínimo por acá. Esto es lo que me gustaría ver de Roblox. Esta es la consolidación estilo más alcista que existe y bolas, güey, para dar el siguiente paso. Así que la zona de oportunidad podría ser justamente acá en los $83, alrededor de 85, 83. es donde yo estaría poniendo atención para aquellas mordidas a los interesados. Semanal también tiene este setup de volatilidad, pero este ha salido desde acá, tío, hasta arriba y continúa. Estamos entrando en extremos, sí. Un segundo. Ok, estamos entrando en extremos, sí, pero una vez más, nos gusta estar en extremos en Roblox, por lo que no está de más. Además, ya rompiste este alto de volatilidad, ya no te queda más que los extremos y muy probablemente vayas a ver estos extremos jugar. El 95% se encuentra en los $103, $102, el 97% en 107 y el 100% en los 122, que es mi siguiente nivel, casi en los $126. Esta madre trae fuerza y no mamadas. Vamos a la diaria. La diaria es la que está cambiando un poco, volatilidad está contrayendo y más allá de eso estamos cayendo en la zona azul, pero el promedio del 9 nos está aguantando junto con esta línea meme. Delicioso. La oportunidad más grande inmediata sería por ahí de los 91 o chance hasta la parte baja de la zona azul en los 87. La oportunidad de oro sería el promedio de 34, que no lo hemos retesteado de que estuvimos esta ruptura, lo que me hace pensar que esta línea meme sería la oportunidad de oro para quien quiera entrar en Roblox. De nuevo, lo puedes invalidar. Simplemente voy a quitar esto para que lo puedan ver. Sencillito, sencillito, padre. Bastante sencillo. Estamos viendo que Roblox tiene cara de una buena consolidación, simplemente porque andamos en extremos. Cualquier cosa, literalmente hasta acá, que veas que viene hasta esta línea meme, oportunidad gigantesca para después ir en el despegue. Tiene divergencias alcistas, lo que sugiere continuación en altas temporalidades, en todas básicamente, menos en la diaria y para abajo, y eso simplemente necesitaba tomarse un ajuste. Vino a respirar acá por ese anuncio de guerra tan temible de la guerra, la que no te enterarías si no te dicen en las noticias. Entonces le quitaron su dinero a mucha gente buena y ahora está pompeando como debe el mercado para los que han aprendido de esto. We're ready for STZ. Is that right? STZ?
Yeah, STD, STZ.
It's the same thing. I've got both. Let me see.
¿Por qué no los dos?
But why not both? Look at your español, señor. Holy shit. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let me see here. So the dailies, I mean, I've never looked at this chart. Let's just go. We'll just break it down. High time frame to low time frame. So the monthly here is that concerning. It's a big concerning thing for me. Losing that monthly EMA 100 very weak to any chart. This will just be a magnet on the monthly. The SMA 200 will be a magnet. Whenever you're under the EMA 100, as long as you're below it, you will have like a measured move to the SMA 200. Now, unfortunately, that is right around 138. And that would mean that support doesn't hold. So then we can start dissecting this on the lower time frames and we can see, well, okay, the monthly 9 rejected. So that's not good. 2 week here. 2 week looks like a breakdown. Looks like you put in your bearish retest while also rejecting the 21. You ever so slightly went above the 2 week 9, but again, just that was like a trap scenario. I'm curious, does this have a silver cross? I reject the 21 so hard. Yeah, it does. So you essentially try to reject the second spot on the silver cross, which is the 21. So we couldn't even hit it. It's right now at 199. 197, basically 198 is resistance. So as long as you're under there, you're breaking down. You see on this 2 week, you even lost support that was trying to hold. And so now what we have is 174 should be resistance, giving you a measured move down to the lows at 160. But with what we know on like trend, it's looking like this is shifting into a downtrend, meaning we have potentially a lower high now on the 2 week. So the assumption then would be this low is not safe, and the next objective will be around 150s, which ideally will come in around the SMA 200 on the monthly. 150s. So the hopium is that this moves up, but this is a monthly. So this is like maybe next month it goes like 141. It's not really going to move up to 150s. And instead it's could front run. So then you could see this and then this starts moving up. But again, I will say as long as you're under that monthly 9, this is very bearish. The monthly even silver crossed. Let's check the last time the monthly silver crossed to the downside, if at all. So here you have a monthly silver cross. It's not really the most hopeful because we see once it crossed, it essentially dumped 41%. But we can take it from here. So we dumped, we crossed, and then here was the silver cross retest. So then here, this led to a 37% move down. It's very dramatic. I mean, that's pretty big, actually. And then, so that was the second silver cross we ever had. No, that was the first one. That was the first and only one. I thought maybe we crossed here, but we didn't. So this was the only silver cross we had that led to at minimum a 30% move. Cross has occurred. We've retested it. Oh, would you look at that? So 30% move would take you down to that monthly SMA 200. Which again isn't the most absurd when you do see that you have a monthly silver cross. The 2-week looks like it's in a downtrend with a lower high. This low is not safe, and my next objective is 150s. So that's the monthly, the 2-week. Let's see here. I was waiting for the HPDR to update, but I didn't have it on. So the weekly is in a breakdown too. And you even see that 174 is right around the 61.8% on the weekly. So weak, it just simply rejected that. Now, yeah, you're almost at support around 163. But again, I'm more convinced this low is not going to hold. And rather, you're going to start seeing the 156 to like 150s come to place it.
Do you, sir, know why?
What do you mean?
Why this is going down?
No. I don't know what they do.
Alcohol, dude. They're Corona. What they're saying everywhere in the world is alcohol consumption is now gonna, like, over time just gonna go down.
I see. Yeah, that would be bearish for this chart. I mean, we won't go to the daily yet. I still want to stick to what was it, the 10-day. The 10-day is freshly in a breakdown too. That was the 15-day then, so even stronger. The 15 days in a fresh breakdown. You see, you lost to 38.2% here, open below, couldn't even get up to that 177 region. It's very weak. I mean, yeah, this next objective on the HPDR, you can see it's like it should hold here, and you could easily represent that with just like this wick, but you can even see you're just like not, you're already below it. If you lose this zone, you're going to drop to that 150. And this gives me good confluence of that. It's really not a good sign. You hit extremes on volatility, you expanded on this dump, and now volatility is resetting, potentially confirmed on this next 15-day with price breaking down now. So you had volatility expansion on a breakdown, and now you're having the reset of volatility, which is now causing price to dump even more. That's bullish. Sarcasm, by the way. Just got to clarify that. Yeah. Okay, so now we can dissect it on the lower time frames, right? So we just did the monthly, the 2-week, the weekly, and now what we're seeing is the 3-day. We are in the extreme zone, so like again, could easily come down to this zone. Implications are that this low is not going to hold. That's why I'd be really gauging for like the 156 to 150s to give us some kind of bounce. I mean, per the HBDR, 153.50 doesn't hold. You're going to move down to 113. So you would, logic says that this will be defended. And we know that the monthly SMA 200 should be a good spot. If we start massively capitulating that this should be a big bottom zone. Let's see if we've ever hit this on the monthly. Let's just see how weak this chart is. Let's see. Did we hit it here? Yeah, we did. So back in, 2008. It's the only time you hit it. So this then tells you that there was a massive issue with markets here, big crisis. So then what Alejandro just said about like consumption and sales, like if this does end up coming low and down to here, this is a big issue then for this chart. There's something wrong and this has to hold. And if it doesn't, this is cooked, beyond cooked.
That is, and by the way, this is going to be the first time ever, because normally in those times when the economy goes bad, the first ones to fucking bounce back and quick is alcohol companies, because people are miserable. They go into alcohol. And if they're not going into alcohol while they're miserable, then yeah, not very good. This is the first time in the whole chart that paradigm is actually active. And as
Yeah.
someone with an alcohol company, it sucks, but it's true.
Yeah, and you just see like that's really it. I mean, so if you do end up going to the SMA 200 on the monthly, yeah, that's a big red flag for me, and this has to hold there. It's kind of like that's it. This will keep moving up, but this has to hold. If this doesn't hold, I wouldn't even be investing in this chart. As simple as that.
Yeah. Could get scary.
I mean, because like I don't look at the 55. When you're viewing just how I look at things, 34 lost, rejected. Next objective should be the EMA 100. Assuming though, right, the monthly doesn't lose the SMA 2. Assuming the monthly does lose the SMA 200. And that's why this zone right around this 140, 150 is going to be very, very important. But yeah, I mean, overall, this chart's as weak as they come. You don't even have a long trigger here. If you start even going to like the 4-hour, you don't have anything. You have a very easy downtrend of just consistent lower highs and lower lows. Boom, boom, boom. And notice how they're all made on the 9. That's a very easy downtrend to play. I mean, you could have gone short on that EMA 100, and then you would have had a free ride down. So with this now, I mean, yes, it's been easy, but again, no trade zone. You're not really looking to short this, right? You don't want to be that guy shorting here. You don't want to be longing this because this could really start dropping. You're better off just kind of waiting. You're simply waiting to see the reaction of 161. You're either going to dump down to here, bottom, kind of like here, and then move up, or this will then be flipped into resistance. The daily 9 will keep going down, giving us another easy play potentially. Because if this gets flipped into resistance, that'll be another short opportunity. Aggressive, but another short play. Whereas right now, you don't really have a short play. You're just kind of, if you're shorting this, you're just focused on lower time frames, and you're playing that 9. And look at how, again, just well respected this is. The 2-hour likes to bust above the 9. When you know that, it goes to the 21. We know this, but then the 21 stops it, and that's where the lower highs are formed. You'd be gauging that with the 4-hour 9. So, and then let's see where the hourly, I bet the hourly is rejecting the 34. Oh yeah, look at that. So really, it's like, yeah, until the hourly 34 gets reclaimed and actually held, you're not going to have any shift of structure, not even on the hourly. I mean, visually, where are you going to long this? Your only long idea now is, yeah, getting back above 170s, holding that, flipping the 34 into support. Then you get to move up to the EMA 100. It's what we know on this EMA 34 on the hourly has been rejecting us this hard. You can only imagine how big the EMA 100 will then. And that's the issue with these charts that are so sold down, is that you just assume, well, it can't go much lower. And then you just start dissecting it. We're even going to like a 5-minute. And there's just no long to be had here. None. All bulls now are just hoping for this. But even then, that's like in a breakdown now. It's funny. So, disgusting chart. There's no reason to be longing this at all. There's not even really a point to be investing in this. And if you are going to be investing in it, the only place to invest will be the SMA 200. You will be wanting to pay attention to this chart if you get any monthly closures back above the EMA 100. But until then, you're just going to be playing from the monthly EMA 100 being resistance and the SMA 200 being support. In between that puts you in a really shitty range of like 45, 46%, where this is just going to be choppy and not fun. The only really easy play was the deviation and then the monthly 9 and then catching that monthly silver cross. But you would have had to like been paying attention to this chart. This would have been easy money, actually. The hard part though is, where would your stop? You would have had to have your stop up here.
Oh yeah.
And then manually close it if you monthly close above like 200. So risky, yes, but I mean, it paid off. So overall, this chart's looking very weak to me. It's in a downtrend on all time frames. There's nothing really to be bullish on this chart really until you're back above like at minimum 170s on a daily close. Until then, this looks like it's just going to start making its way down to this low, which was formed in February. And with the 2-week looking like it's in a lower high, I don't think, or I'm not convinced that this low is going to hold. Rather, we're going to capitulate down to like 156 to 150. That ideally should hold, and the extremity low for bulls will have to be this SMA 200. So the hopium is that this will move up. But with what we've seen in the past, as long as you're under the EMA 100, this should directly take you to the SMA 200. This has to hold. And if this gets lost on a monthly close, I would not even touch this on spot. I would not invest in this. I would touch it. Why? Because, well, this is just not even, there's nothing bullish on this. If you lose the monthly SMA 200, there's not even like a hint of a bull market. Why buy something if it's probably going to dump more? And you can even see here, just like these lows would be 100. So it's like, why would I want to touch that there? Rather, if I'm going to invest in this, I'll just wait for the SMA 200, play my hand here. If we lose it, I'll cut my spot bags. And if it holds, I just got a generational opportunity on STZ, similar to here. So it's straightforward. I like charts like this that are very bearish because it's easy to play. You like very easily know when not to play this. And as long as you're making lower time frame, lower highs here, there's just like no long. That's why 170 at least can then say, okay, well, lower time frame trend shifted, 4-hour nines reclaimed, we're back within this range. And then maybe we can talk about going up. And I mean, how much of a move is that from here? 2.8 to like 4%. Yeah. So that's all I have on STZ. Really not a good chart. Yeah, really not a good chart. Really not good at all.
Very small moves, which is really boring, but here we go.
Hey, it's average moves. No,
it's
average size moves.
Well done. Well played. Checkmate. Ok, estamos viendo Constellation Brands. La razón por la que Constellation Brands se ve tan del culo es porque están saque y tienen razón, reportes de que el alcohol, porque esto es Constellation Brands, es Corona y todo esto, el alcohol básicamente nunca en la vida va a volver a tener la demanda que tuvo antes, porque los chavos de generación X no están tomando como los demás degenerados y todo el mundo está dejando de tomar porque se han dado cuenta que un vaso de vino al día no es saludable. Hoy no le digas a mi mamá que se pone bien de mala si no se toma su vinito, ¿no? Pero aquí lo tienen, es lo que estamos viendo y estamos viéndolo en una tabla mensual. Constellation Brands salió al mercado estamos hablando de los 86. Desde entonces ha hecho a mucha gente muy feliz y probablemente haya metido a muchas parejas en problemas. Pero lo que estamos viendo ya aquí es literalmente el subidongo del 2015 para arriba. Este fue la caída de COVID, pum, en putiza y luego la recuperó. Pueden notar que en el 2022 no tuvo la caída que todas las demás empresas. La razón es porque todo el mundo se quedó chupando en casa y en tiempos malos el alcohol es una buena cosa en que invertir. Pero si ahora la gente no está tomando, no sé exactamente qué es lo que vaya a pasar acá. Pueden ver que la última vez que tocó el S&P 200, la línea morada, fue literalmente en el 2009, lo que le dio una oportunidad tremenda a gente en los $13 para irse hasta los 250. Ahora, difícil acá poder entender si cae acá, ¿por qué deberías de comprar o invertir en una empresa de alcohol? Ahora, si todas las empresas de alcohol, si una marca de alcohol se vuelve algo más, bien, pueden salir para adelante. Créanme, he estado en todo esto. Pero si eres una distribuidora de alcohol y tú dependes totalmente de alcohol, me encantaría entender dónde va a estar la oportunidad por ahora. Ahora, con eso dicho, vamos a acercarnos un poco para analizar esto. Tenemos un cruce plateado a la baja, lo pueden ver acá. Eso es cuando nuestro promedio del 21 cae por debajo del 55. ¿Y eso qué nos dice? Que cada que veamos un retesteo, un toque del promedio del 9, oportunidad de hacerle corto. Hasta ahora no lo ha tocado ni una sola vez desde diciembre del 2024. O sea, casi hace 6 meses, básicamente fue la última vez que lo tocó. Cualquier retesteo a esta zona de los 196 no es para entrar en long, es más para hacerle un corto y habrá continuación en esta caída. Esta es una tabla muy bajista. Tienes tus máximos históricos acá, tienes el primero el julio del 2023 y el último en abril del 2024, lo que ya lo pone hace más de un año y simplemente ha estado cayendo. Vamos a ver el HPDR donde pone esto. Pueden ver que el movimiento y justamente el 97% está justamente en donde está esta caja y es aquí donde yo diría, esta sería la oportunidad de oro para cualquiera que entre. La cosa va a ser esta. que aguante este mínimo en los 103. Si te llegas a llevar los 103 para abajo, adiós. Nos vemos en la próxima y esto va a ir muy probablemente al siguiente nivel que está por ahí de los 80. Estás hablando de una caída bastante agresiva en esto. Por ahora, esta consolidación puede hacer que baje todo el HPDR y de continuación, y es lo que yo esperaría ver. Vamos a la de 2 semanas. Más o menos como la de 2 semanas, donde ya se empieza a levantar, tienes tu cruce plateado aquí atrás, cada oportunidad de retesteo del 9 es literalmente para hacerle corto, 180 debería ser el siguiente objetivo para eso, y simplemente estamos cayendo no solamente el 50% al 61.8% y por debajo del 165.20, vamos a dar continuación al 78.6% y nos pone ya cerca de estos mínimos del medio y también de nuestro objetivo aquí abajo. Además, déjenme veo. Volatilidad está en extremos habías tenido esta mega caída que fue el setup de Hamas, la que nos dio esta caída. Y este extremo de volatilidad literalmente fue esto, de 160 a 195 y para abajo. Y ahora está cayendo la volatilidad. Lo que nos dice, y es lo que estás viendo justamente acá, una vez que bajó, es esto. Y si estás contrayendo el precio junto con la volatilidad y estás viendo que la volatilidad tiene mucho camino para caminar para abajo, ¿qué crees que va a pasar? Déjenme ver la mensual. Mensual también tuvo este setup de Hamas en la mensual y esta fue la volatilidad para abajo. ¡Wow! Hay tablas bajistas y está esta. Esto, puta madre, en la semanal dirías, bueno, ya nos salvamos de las demás. No, la semanal está expandiendo volatilidad, está en 69% y el siguiente obstáculo va a estar en el 100%, volver a ser otro extremo y lo está haciendo ante esta caída. Siguiente objetivo va a ser el 88.3% para mí en el 156 y de ahí dar continuación para abajo. Diaria, puta, es que no deja de caer esta cosa, tíos. Diaria, cruce plateado, oportunidad es cada vez que toques el 9, estás entrando cayendo el 78.6% y el 88.3% es el siguiente objetivo. Definitivamente los 160 los vamos a ver y muy probablemente vayamos a barrer estos mínimos de febrero para hacer un nuevo mínimo más bajo, por ahí de los 152. Interesante. Qué mamada. Mi modo Constellation Brands, a ver qué otro negocio tienen que hacer. Muchas marcas van a tener que hacer esto. Básicamente, para cambiar y revertir esta tendencia, tienes que estar arriba de $196 y después retomar el SMI 200. Hasta que no hagas eso, estás en continuación bajista. Por más que tenga este mínimo más alto ya te hizo este mínimo más bajo, alto, alto, más alto. Tiene toda la cara de que va a ser un mínimo más bajo. Y ahora estamos equivocados. Si retomas primero todos estos EMAs hasta el 187, te subes encima de esta línea meme y después recuperas el SMI 200 que está por ahí de los $208, que probablemente baje más y continúe siguiendo al precio por abajo. Así que bajista, bajista, bajista y bajista en esta tabla. La oportunidad de oro literalmente se encuentra en esta situación. Y ahora aquí tienes que esperar a que rebote y no solamente vaya a caer, porque si llega a caer de esto, nos vemos por aquí abajo, literalmente hasta los 30 y tantos dólares. Constellation Brands, tíos, tranquilos. All right, Mr. Farhan, we're doing take two. Not take two like as in let's take two, but take two the stock. The video
I'll take three.
stock. You take as many as you want, sir.
Muchas gracias. I'll be taking tres.
Hang on.
Oops, I clicked the wrong one.
Poopsie-daisies.
Let's use this right one. Take two.
Interactive. It's TTWO. The second option. There you go.
NASDAQ. There we go. Let's go. How much data does this have? Oh, I can use the quarterly on this. Nice. Let's zoom out. Now we are getting momentum on the quarterly. Very, very close to breaking into the bullish control zone. Right on the edge. Well, volatility is now expanding from almost 0% and is sitting at 48%. Lines up with price getting to the edge of the 38.2%, slightly over the 38.2%. That's at $230. Last time we got over the 38.2%, we went straight up to the 61.8%, very close to the 78.6%. The time before there, we went over the 38.2%. We went all the way up to first the 97.5%, 97.5%. Again, over the 38.2%, we went to 61.8%, very close to the 88.3%, same thing as before. So if you go to the 61.8% this time, that is about $252, and the 88.3% is sitting at about $360. So if you were to give it roughly in the middle, that puts you at about like $300 to $311. Let's see, that also was when we hit we went into the bullish control zone on momentum. Monthly is currently flipped to the downside, with volatility currently contracting to it's likely going to be a higher low. Very possible that the higher low already is played out, and the way to confirm that is getting close over that 38.2% at about $236. Get that close, this is going to be confirmed for me as a higher low, and probably we're going to break into somewhere around high 200s to that point, like somewhere around 260 to 280. 2 week is about to confirm that as well, with momentum about to flip back up, volatility about to start expanding. Is what's going to confirm that is going to be closer over the 38.2%, same $237 level. Very likely breaks into the 260s at that point. On weekly is right at the reset zone on momentum, very close to breaking out up or breaking down. The volatility sitting at just around 0% at 0.68%. The jewel is now giving us a fresh buy signal, which is does make the probabilities more towards the upside on momentum. And what will also confirm it is getting close over the median. Right now we are just around the median. The median's at 232.86. We are currently at 233.26. So if we get a close over there, then very likely we're going to break into 260s. 5 as well is right around that reset zone. 2 days currently flipped to the upside, interesting, with volatility in an expansion phase and a fresh buy signal on the jewel. We are currently rejecting the 38.2%, not looking the best. If we do close like this, very likely we're going to come down and retest the median. But based on momentum, very likely this median does hold at 228, and we probably do get another test of that 38.2%. Daily is currently flipped to the downside. And daily also has a target of that $230-ish number for a retest of the median, and then likely back up. And 4 hours, basically the same idea as well, a little bit lower, with the fresh sell signal on the jewel, similar target of around $230. Let's check the RSI. Fresh hidden bullish divergence on the RSI, cool, on the quarterly. And it's going to be active as long as you're closing over about $135.24. And your next target is bullish control zone at about 237. It's about $7 higher. And the critical zone is at 461. I'm just curious. It's about $291, about $300. Monthly also has hidden bullish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're closing over $211. Next target is about 244, only $11 higher. Weekly as well as 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're above 223. Next target is the critical zone, that is 283, 284. Daily currently has 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're closing above about $222. Next move is critical zone, that is 236, $3 higher. Let's check momentum. Momentum is currently pointed heavily to the upside on the quarterly with volatility expansion from extreme lows, and it's going to be pointed up above $165.60. Monthly, it's also freshly pointed to the upside with volatility expansion from many periods of 0%, and it's going to be pointed up above 227.60. 2 week is also getting volatility expansion, and it's going to be pointed up freshly above 232.47. And weekly is also freshly flipped up with volatility expansion, and it's going to be pointed up above 227.93. 5 days also, all 5 days about a flip to the upside, and it will flip up above 231.51, which we are slightly above currently. 2 days now also freshly to the upside, and is now getting volatility expansion as well, and it's going to be pointed up above 232.34. Dailies are also flipped to the upside with volatility expansion, and it's going to be flipped up above 231.51. 4 hours now flipped to the downside and is getting volatility contraction, and it is going to be flipped down below 236.55. We want to see on the 4 hour zoom in a close above about $237.31 to confirm the local bottom to be in, and then the daily and the higher time frames to take back over. And 2 hours going to be flipped to the downside, and it's going to be flipped down as long as you're below 236.50. So based on that, if we do continue to the downside, I would expect to move to somewhere around 230 to about 230. Yeah, 231.50 to about 230. Very small range. Very likely that area holds though. So
Yeah.
So all of the high time frames on this thing are quite bullish. Is this the company that's making Grand Theft Auto?
Yep.
Yeah, so it makes sense. And it's going to be the first video game priced at $100. Pretty insane for a digital product that they can just print $100 on each copy, and it's the most awaited game of all time.
And everyone can download it. They only have to spend
Yeah.
the money once to make it, and then distribution is technically, well, it's not technically, but it's almost free relative to how much money they're going to make.
On PC, you'll literally be able to get it for free because you can pirate it.
Or if you live in Mexico, you can also get it for basically almost free because everything can be accessible.
All the high time frames are extremely bullish, monthly, quarterly, all freshly flipped to the upside with volatility expansion. You're putting in hidden bullish divergences on all of them. All of the time frames all the way down to the daily are flipped to the upside. The only one that is flipped down currently is the 4 hour and the 2 hour, which gives you targets of hitting somewhere around 231.50 to somewhere around $230. Really high probability that area does hold, however. And then from there, I would expect to tag somewhere around $280, which is the bullish divergence target. Very likely get some consolidation over there. And in the next area, if you can make it into it, somewhere around $300 for that Fibonacci target. And then the RSI critical zone is somewhere around $400. The invalidation of all of this is getting any tick below about $135 or a weekly close below about $177. Aside from that, very likely continues to those upper targets.
Very, very nice, señor. Thank you so much. Perfecto. Take Two. Esta es la empresa que hizo Grand Theft Auto para todos los que no sepan. ¿Y qué están viendo acá? Lo mismo que hemos discutido todo el día de hoy. Estos son patrones muy fuertes. Es justo esto, consolidación y ruptura a la alza. Ya que ves eso, puedes entender que esta es la línea literalmente a romper. Eso quiere decir que lo vamos a medir del punto más bajo donde tocó el precio en esta consolidación, en medio de los puntos altos. Espérame, me salió de... O sea, no está chueca, está otro pedo. Ahí está. Ahora vamos por acá, que lo rompió. ¿Cuál sería el objetivo? Ahora, los objetivos alcistas de Farhan, de acuerdo a todas sus unidades de momentum, etcétera, están mínimo por 280. Yo tengo 340 con este movimiento. Lo voy a dejar aquí para que lo tengamos en mente para cuando pase. y lo veamos pasar, que según yo sí va a ocurrir. Estamos en una tabla mensual, por cierto. Este span es del 2021 hasta el 2025, lo que lo hace aún más fuerte ese movimiento. Voy a ponerla de 3 meses, acercarnos, ver. Esta es una de las tablas más alcistas que he visto en mi vida. La potencia que lleva el fondo que tocó en el 2022, la oportunidad de oro en $89 y ahora está cotizando en 233. Pongamos el HPDR rápido para checarlo. Y antes de eso déjenme ver. Papi, tienes también volatilidad expandiendo junto con el precio y está expandiendo a la alza y estás viendo que esto es en la trimestral. ¿Ok? La fuerza que lleva esto, primer objetivo de volatilidad, a ver si puede romper, van a ser el 77%. Eso quiere decir que le queda 20 y tantos por ciento para poder seguir moviéndose bien. Esto me facilita la chamba. Pueden ver que acá el 78.6%, que debería ser mi siguiente objetivo, está en 308 y el 88.3% en 358. Pero a esta cosa le gusta ir hasta el extremo. Y el extremo estoy hablando del 97.5%. El 97.5% está en 411, arriba de mi objetivo mamalón. Así que es un poco conservador mi objetivo. ¡Qué locura! Estas velas trimestrales, ¿cuántos trimestres alcistas hemos tenido? 1, 2, este sería el tercero y faltan 17 días y 3 horas para cerrarlo. Este sería también el cierre más alto de toda la historia. Este pasado no lo fue. Está por ahí más o menos con el otro de acá. Así que vamos a ver si lo logramos. Tienes 17 días y 3 horas para cerrar encima de los 230, que justamente los 230 parece ser la zona de oportunidad para poder agregar a la posición, simplemente por la fuerza que lleva esto. De poder aguantar los 230, deberíamos de ir a los 237 y rápidamente a los 251. Mensual. Mensual interesante. Y también tienes expansión de volatilidad ante la subida, nada mal. Y ahora estás justamente ante resistencia en los 235.99, $236. Quieres romper esos $236 para poder ir a tu siguiente objetivo en los $264 y de ahí 289. Este movimiento a los 289 va a ser algo relativamente rápido, porque sí va a llegar a sí va a llegar a estos extremos, tiene más probabilidad de llegar a estos extremos simplemente viendo el comportamiento de la acción en el pasado. Y atentos, ahí es donde esperaríamos en este 78.6% consolidar para después romper los 300 e ir a nuestro siguiente objetivo, que es el movimiento medido justamente de la tasa. 2 semanas, igualito, con fuerza y con ansia se gana en Francia. Un segundo. También volatilidad, no voy a considerar volatilidad expandiendo relativamente a esto. Lo que sí estamos justamente ante esta resistencia, una vez más, 237, 238, y una vez que lo rompamos, el 61.8% en los 250 sería tocado, máximo histórico, y eso nos permitiría continuar hacia arriba en el HPDR. Fuerza. Me gusta. También tienes expansión de volatilidad, pero es más o menos como del lado. Exacto. Vamos a ver. O sea, literalmente de lado. Aquí lo que estamos viendo es que estamos por encima de la media, el 9 y el 5. El 9 estando en 2.25, esa va a ser tu zona de máxima oportunidad para cualquier locura. Si llega a tocar por ahí el precio, sería esta cajita, se hace y después para arriba. Esa sería una perfecta zona para acumular entre 230 y 225. La de harina, un poco parecida a las pasadas. Dame 2 segundos. Volatilidad está cayendo a niveles nulos. Esto que nos dice que probablemente nos va a dar otro setup de expansión alta y le gusta estar en extremos. Así que vamos a mantener un ojo pendiente acá a ver cuándo expande esta volatilidad y ver cómo está aguantando el promedio del nuevo. Siempre y cuando no perdamos los 232. Aquí tienes 230 y 227 hasta 223, la parte baja de esto. Eso es lo que suena a tu máximo movimiento correctivo. Yo creo, sí, los 223 son posibles porque no te llevas ninguno de estos mínimos. Exacto. Así que 225, 223 debería de ser zonas de intereses para aquellos que quieran entrar en largo y no se te ocurra para nada voltear a ver esto en corto. Nada. No hay nada en este planeta que te diga que deberías de Take-Two continúa viéndose alcista de a madres, una locura, pero ahora que van a sacar Grand Theft Auto y como dice Farhan, va a costar más de $100 el videojuego. No mames la fuerza que lleva y voy a firmar mi ¿cómo se dice? Mi objetivo aquí a la alza, un segundo. Para que recordemos que eso lo dijo el asno de tu tío Salo. Ok, vamos a la que sigue, un segundo. Déjenme ver qué es lo que sigue, padres. Google.
Nice.
Mr. Alex.
All right, let's check out Google because I remember it was
apparently I found out the other day that Google is banned on Huawei smartphones.
On what?
I found out that Google doesn't work on Huawei smartphones, Google products.
Obviously not, because it's an American company, right?
So then why would I want to buy one of their phones? I can't use Google products.
Oh, yeah. Hang on, I removed Alex, put him back in. I actually completely forgot that in Mexico they sell them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they're
crazy.
everywhere.
I was gonna buy one for the suegra because I'm going to Mexico City tomorrow for her birthday. And I was like, let's get this. And then I found out you can use Google products, so I got a Samsung instead.
Yeah, it sounds really stupid. Like, especially if they're selling them everywhere in the world. Like, why would they not let him do that? Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. A lot of Chinese products out here in Mexico.
Yeah, that's why we're going in there and not the narco. I don't know if you guys know this, but the narcos have been there forever. You know what hasn't been there forever? The Chinese cars and the Chinese phones and the Chinese clothing and the Chinese everything.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere here. I see it.
That's
everything.
New.
Everything. Yeah. It's basically Chinatown here. Anyways, you were gonna say something, Farhan?
Yeah, BYD makes an electric truck that looks just like an F-150.
Oh yeah, I've seen it too. A friend of mine just messaged me. His wife just messaged me and said, "Am I really going to be happy with a Tesla? My husband wants to get a Tesla, and I want to get the BYD, and blah blah blah. And we're arguing about it. And I just want to ask you because you know." I'm like, "Why are you putting me in this position? If you hate it, you're going to complain. If your husband hates it, he's going to complain to me. So you guys fucking deal with your problems. Go drive both." I don't know.
Yeah, it's a safe option there. You know, with Google, it's looking interesting because we wanted it to break down, and instead it is starting to break out. Now, just like every other chart I've looked at, again, the daily is going to be very important to see where this closes. Does it close under 176, or does it actually reclaim that? So far, we are above it. We had a very nice move off that SMA 200. And so really, this is looking quite bullish for a Monday breakout. If we can hold the close above 176 on Monday, retest it, this could be a good recipe to at least test the 182s, break that, then you have an objective around 193. We go up to 193 though, I'm not going to be like super bullish there because the screaming obvious, you know, Jesus toast pattern, the head and shoulders pattern would be very obvious to me here. And that's why then breaking and actually reclaiming back above 194 would be quite important to kind of invalidate this, because what you don't want is a move up to here and then you simply reject. Like you break out, valid, and you have that move up, but then you just reject here, giving you that right shoulder. Well, let's check the higher time frames, like the monthly. Yeah, so monthly actually is interesting because you're going to see the monthly 9 move up around 175 into July. So like that's bullish, and it solidifies this range here. Breaking out is really good. Monthly closures above 176 is kind of the objective for bulls. It very well could break out in the daily and cause this monthly to just green dildo. And the 2-day is looking very nice. You had a 2-day EMA 9 retest on that move down. You're very close to a 2-day silver cross as well. So you're going to be watching that. this starts breaking out, it's going to cause the 2-day to silver cross while also making this EMA 9 on the 2-day meet where this wick low is. So I'd be watching that. The 2-day silver crosses are pretty strong on Google. Here was the downside one. We just crossed, we rallied up, almost hit the EMA 121, rejected before, lost the 9, and then there you move down from the 9. Let's see. I'll take it from here. 13%. That's massive for Google, by the way, on the 2-day chart. So this being really close to silver crossing is very bullish to me, but it's not confirmed yet. We want to definitely see that confirmed. The daily is, though, silver crossed. And so, again, this can give you good confluence that if you do start reclaiming back above 176 into Monday, you could have a long trigger, which would be just this breaking out, a bullish retest, silver cross retest, while you finally got the bullish retest of the SMA 200 on the daily. This was looming. I mean, you broke out from it. You're always kind of watching this zone. And it did exactly what bulls want, which is it straight to business. Hit it, finally got the tap. Now we're right back to where we were, still brewing a breakout. So 176 remains the spot. As long as you're above 176 on a daily close, you are holding the daily 9, which is in a silver cross. This will then have a lot of implications for us to go test the 182s again. Breaking the 182s would be confirmation that we're going to get a move up to 190s to 193. Let's see if the HPDR says anything about a breakout. And it does. You can see here we actually threw it back as well as testing the SMA 200. You also tested the 38.2%. So everything on the chart was telling you this was a bullish retest. And you got the reaction from that. So now we just want to see, can we get long on the bullish retest of the meme line? If this gets a daily close back above it, this would be a really good sign, and also a daily EMA 9 silver cross retest. So this is bullish though, and hopefully I don't jinx it, but if the daily can just close above 176, I'll be expecting 182s and then 190s next. Nice. So 3 days walls breaking out. It kind of gives you bigger, more confidence, bigger time frame than a daily is a 3-day, which is if you really start moving out here, you still could come back down to 176 before breaking out. And that's just shown here. I mean, you broke out, you're holding the 38.2%. You went lower, of course, but you bounced off the 9. Now what you see is the 38.2% is directly lined up nicely with the channel, but then also the meme line. So, yeah, very strong chart, honestly. $177.60, so it's right around 176, kind of. Again, just this monthly tells me that we want to pay attention to 176 and then 178. To be exact, it's 177.70. Getting back above there, though, yeah, would mean that you can make your move up to the median, which is at 187. And then at that point, if you're at the median, you'd have to really be watching this zone to then give you that right shoulder for the head and shoulders. This isn't a monthly downtrend too, so the objective will be to break this high for bulls. I mean, there's no reason why they're not going to push up, flip this, and then move up. Because with this taking out the last monthly higher low, that's a concern for a chart like Google. This isn't a shitcoin, so this is valid now, and bears are really going to be watching for the lower high to take place around the 176. That's why being above it today gives me confidence to be bullish, but we just want to keep seeing that hold. And that's why, you know, the reactions that we've gotten so far are bullish. It bounced exactly where it needed to. Into Monday, Tuesday, is it going to hold? And that's where you're going to be really gauging. If it can hold above specifically 176, this should be good to break out and move up to 190s. And yeah, that's all I have really. I mean, I can look 4 hours, same thing.
Sadly, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and usually with these charts, it usually is that way. And even the weekly here, I mean, you're gauging the daily to get that EMA 9 silver cross retest to kind of gauge the breakout, because the weekly is in breakout. I mean, you reclaim specifically above the weekly 9 and you've retested it, so that's already done. Google likes to be above the weekly 9, and you get expansions off of it. So what is this, the 15-day? I think I call it the weekly, the 15-day. And look at that, the 61.8% is right around that 193, 194. So, if Google can hold above 176, it should move up to 190s. Bears are going to really try to take control there and not take out the last high, really try to form that lower high, while in doing so also give you that right shoulder on the head and shoulders. Typical reversal pattern around tops would be a head and shoulders on the macro. But you also have to understand that if it's this
And
obvious,
I got another name for the head and shoulders pattern. The Maserati logo.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of, yeah, that's funny. If you're already seeing it though, this obvious, it's not gonna probably be this obvious. You could easily just go like here and then do that. And it's like, not as clean. But also if it's, this obvious and we're consolidating, it could just lead to a breakout, a failed move up. But still, it's very valid to be watching 193s. That's the wick high here. This was the last deviation. So, right, that's why we even drew this to begin with. And I'm like, oh yeah, this could just be a head and shoulders then. Because this SFP deviated, a rally up would just be a bearish retest. So that's kind of what you're gauging. And you're using the daily to really see if this is going to move. 176 is bullish, and above that's bullish. You don't need a breakout necessarily now, specifically when the HBDR is at extremes on the daily. You very well could just consolidate, but as long as you're above 176, 193 should be next. So that's what I'm watching on Google.
Perfecto. Well, you boys are motherfucking done. Enjoy your Friday. Good luck with everything that you guys are going through right now. And hopefully no one will just open your door anymore and walk into your apartment whenever they feel like it, because that's weird. Yeah. But that's just me. Of course. You guys have fun. Let me know if you, if there's anything you guys want to say before you go, also let me know. But if not, thank you for everything.
Cool. Yeah, no, thank you, boys. See you on the Discord.
Bye, head off to Mexico City mañana.
Good luck. Enjoy yourself out there, dude.
Muchas gracias.
Enjoy the food.
Luego and buenas tardes.
Hasta la vista, baby. Ok, estamos viendo Google, la empresa, no sé si conozcan esta pequeña empresa de tecnología en Estados Unidos, ¿no? potente subida. Ha estado en un uptrend toda su vida, toda su historia. Google salió al mercado sorprendentemente en el .com bust en el 2004. Desde entonces ha estado subiendo como enfermo mental y está preparando un hombro, cabeza, hombro invertido, según lo que estoy viendo por acá, y eso debería de ser bastante potentemente alcista. Vamos a ver si es cierto y vamos a analizar esto. Pero para empezar, empecemos en la trimestral, donde hemos tenido esta expansión de volatilidad que más o menos ha dejado el precio en la misma región. No, nada emocionante de qué contarles, y también pues más cuando volteas a ver la volatilidad dándose una vuelta acá. Más allá de esto, el HBDR nos va a ser útil en este momento para ver dónde estamos, y pueden ver que estamos justamente siendo rechazados por la media en este momento. Para los alcistas de Google, lo único que tienes que romper son los 180, que es básicamente coincide con mi línea meme. Una vez que lo hagas, 200 va a ser tu siguiente objetivo, y de ahí los 223. Vamos a ver, no. Pero está cayendo y está dando uno de los setups. Este setup fue el de COVID, por cierto, para que tengan una idea. Y esto fue... ¿Dónde está el 15? Ahí está. 15%. No tuvo ni siquiera que entrar acá como en el 2015. En COVID nada más hizo esto y con eso dio... Bueno, el madrazo para que tengan una referencia a esto, de solamente 200%, un 2X. Un 12, hoy una cervecita, no suena nada mal. Háblale a Constellation Brands que te haga el sponsorship. Ahorita estamos entrando justamente en la zona azul y queremos aguantar este cierre mensual, 17 días, 3 horas, por encima de los 174. Estando por ahí, nuestro siguiente objetivo debería ser los 187, y de poder romper los 187 a retestar esos máximos históricos. 2 semanas, volatilidad viene completamente en caliente después de este Domsky por acá, y ahora vamos regresando y retomando la zona azul. Volatilidad ahora está cayendo. Al mismo tiempo que estamos viendo eso, y al recuperar la zona azul deberíamos de tener un objetivo para este cierre en 7 días y 3 semanas de 187, lo que ya nos pone allá básicamente a cantar los 200 una vez más. Tenemos nuestro promedio el 9, el 21 y el 5 por acá y el 9 en los 164, lo que me dice que oportunidades se podrían presentar en esta zona. Máximo hasta como por acá para encontrar un nuevo mínimo más bajo. Esto no podría ser el hombro. Yo creo que lo que vamos a ver va a ser algo así, así y así. Pero estoy adivinando, entonces no vale la pena pensar en eso. Por ahora, estando por aquí, no perdiendo los 175 es bastante alcista para Google y eso nos pone con un objetivo a los 187 como mínimo. Semanale. Y aquí es lo que agrega toda esa confluencia, esta zona donde muy probablemente sea la oportunidad buena para entrar en el siguiente diperino en los de 165 a 168 dólares. Ahora, con eso dicho, un segundo, podemos ver que volatilidad comienza a expandir también. No el punto más bajo, pero tiene cara de querer irse al 100% y lo está haciendo ante este velazo verde que tocó el 61.8%. Queremos cerrar por encima del 177 para empezar a buscar objetivos arriba del 180. 180 es literalmente lo que tenemos que llevarnos. Una vez que te lleves el alto de esta vela semanal, que cierra en 2 horas y 34 minutos, estás hablando de ir a retestear los altos históricos. Diaria, tienes un setup de volatilidad que continúa expandiendo, ¿sí? En lo que el precio al principio expandió, después cayó y ahora continúa expansión. Y esta nueva expansión le está dando acá. Eso es bueno y eso nos debería llevar al 88.3%, a esos 180, 181 como objetivo y de ahí romper a la alza. Lo que personalmente pienso necesita ocurrir es quedarnos aquí arriba de los 180, consolidar, dar el siguiente movimiento para arriba a los 200, en los 200 ver si podemos romper, si no retestear probablemente esta zona y de ahí ya explotar a la alza por simplemente toda la tabla a largo plazo. Se empieza a ver bastante bien para Google. Todo esto está mal si perdemos esta zona en los 165 para abajo, en cierres diarios o semanal con cualquier cierre por debajo de los 158, esta zona. Aquí, cierres semanales para abajo, nada. Y puede obviamente hacer un dashazo el precio rápido, como les gusta hacerlo, pero te gustaría no perder el área de los 150. Ese sería el último, porque si pierdes los 150 y creas un nuevo mínimo, olvídate de hacer un nuevo alto antes de hacer un nuevo mínimo. Y eso cambiaría toda la historia, pero no tiene cara de que lo vaya a hacer. Así que por ahora voy a quitar todas estas estupideces y se las voy a dar toda. Sencillita, sencillita con los Google. Básicamente queremos que aguante esta zona de los 170 a 165 máximo. Aquí esperaríamos el retroceso para dar el alto, el segundo bajo más alto y de ahí continuar y hacer el siguiente alto más alto. Aunque con todo lo que estamos viendo, momentum, etcétera, volatilidad, todo apunta a que esto va a ir a empezar a consolidar por arriba de los 180 dólares. Abajo de acá nos despedimos de todo y no estamos interesados en Google y sabemos que nos equivocamos y empezamos a cerrar por debajo de este promedio del 55 en los 157, 155 dólares. Ahí lo tienen, damas y caballeros. Nada mal, en vivo y en directo. Y les voy a decir algo también. Espérenme un segundo, voy a regresar a la pantalla. Ya estamos del otro lado. Es viernes, váyanse a disfrutar, vayan a pasarla bien, es bonito, relájense. A los que tengan que trabajar este fin de semana, a chingarle, no hay de otra. Les mando un fuerte abrazo a todos, muchísimas gracias. Ayer ya no pude hacer nada, perdón por no traer, nadie me preguntó. Me dio un dolor de cabeza mamón, o sea, migraña de... Nunca me dan, entonces como cualquier hombre dramático, tuve que tirarme en el sillón y hacer un drama. Pero ahí lo tienen. Básicamente, todos estos anuncios de guerra, personalmente, todavía no me tienen espantado. Si no nos hubieran dicho en las noticias, ¿alguien sabría que estamos en guerra? No, ok. Bueno, la gente de Israel probablemente, pero quién sabe, siempre tienen cosas que les avientan, entonces igual ya también están acostumbrados y es de, bueno, es que es viernes, ¿no? Ya las sirenas del viernes. Con eso dicho, atentos al cierre de hoy. Algo me huele a que va a haber fuckery al final del día, que no vamos a ver los mercados tal cual como los estamos viendo ahorita. Así que mantengan un ojo bien pelado. Si ven que es agresivamente para abajo, nos tienen una sorpresa. No lo creo. Estoy viendo a Tesla arriba en los 332, ya estando en nuestro punto ahí. Estoy viendo a Nvidia en 142,80. Bien. Básicamente el VIX abajo de 20. Esto me suena a un nothing burger, así que disfrútenlo. Los veo en un rato para una. Me preguntó, voy a ver Fórmula 1 ahorita, si me disculpan. Les mando un abrazo, pórtense bien. Nos vemos en un rato. Nos vemos.